because it was neglected.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 251 on the calendar in the matter of Hipsher versus Lemos. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am. Gentlemen, have a seat.
This is a really interesting case. Miss Hipsher, this is your dog, Buddy.
That's my dog, Buddy.
Don't cry yet, okay? Because you have to tell me what happened.
I know.
So take a deep breath. You want some water?
Yeah, I'll take some, thank
Okay.
you.
According to these papers, you and the defendant lived together with your 2 children. I assume that these are your 2 kids.
Yes.
The relationship was going south. You, Mr. Lemos, wanted her out of your house with the 2 children.
Correct.
And she was living there with the kids and Buddy.
Exactly.
According to your papers, you started eviction proceedings against her, correct?
Yes.
I'm not going to get into why. And sort of at the tail end of these eviction proceedings, it was about 4 months into trying to get her out of the house. According to your answer, you went over to the house and took her dog, right?
Correct.
You say you have a good reason for going over and taking the dog, but you took her dog. She didn't know where the dog was for how long?
2.5 years.
And you had seen him during those 2.5 years?
I have telephone records otherwise and stuff to prove that him and I were in communication over the telephone, visiting each other at each other's homes, the whole 9 yards.
Had you discussed Buddy?
Yes, a lot.
When you came home and found Buddy missing, what did you do?
I immediately called John at his mom's house and stuff, and at which time he told me that he had no idea where my dog was. He had no inclination of, he says, Irene, I'm sorry, but no, I didn't have anything to do with that. I feel really bad. Made it sound like really personal and stuff, so I went, other than to the Contra Costa County Animal Control, and I set up, that's when I started setting up the missing reports or otherwise and stuff. I searched the premises, went around the blocks, went around all streets, even made up signs. But that's my family member. That's
Okay. How long had you had Buddy at that time?
I had Buddy for 7 years before John took him.
Okay. Now, how did you ultimately find out that Mr. Lemos had your dog?
My son Joshua was playing with his new girlfriend's son. I have no idea what his name was, but he had mentioned, Joshua asked his son, how many dogs does John have? And the boy came back with 2. Well, John automatically saw that the conversation was happening, pulled away the child from my son and stuff and told him, no, you gotta, whatever, took him back, and then when the 2 confronted again, the 2 children, the boy says, oh no, I made a mistake. John only has 1 dog. He has Zeus.
So then your son came home and told this to you?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And this was at his house, place of residence. I was visiting the neighborhood.
Okay, at his house, but not his mother's house?
No.
Which is where the dog finally ended up?
Yes.
You're his mother, correct?
Yes.
So tell me how you confronted him, ultimately.
Well, I went to his house and stuff. Neither one of these 2 people were home, and whenever I looked over the fence, that's where I saw Buddy.
So you went to his mother's house?
Yeah, and that's whenever I found out that's whenever because at first and stuff, I didn't let John know that what was being said between the kids or that I even questioned it, because if I did, he would have just ultimately ran with my dog. So I took it upon myself and stuff without even questioning him or without saying anything to him. I showed up at his mom's house knowing that she was at work and he was at work, showed up and just peered over the fence.
So then after you found out that they had your dog, what did you do?
I went to the San Leandro Police Department and filed a case against him and stuff, which I have copies of or otherwise. It's 9711035. Okay.
Did you call them and say, I want my dog back?
Later on that day.
Who did you speak to?
I spoke to John at first. I could just hear her in the background saying how she was going to kill my dog before she gives him back to me. She's going to put my dog down. I could hear her screaming in the background, yes, John. And then all of a sudden and stuff, he's telling me and stuff. At first, it was a good conversation. It was like, oh, no, how you doing? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I asked him, I says, John, I says, I heard you had my dog. You know, he says, Irene, I don't have your dog. I haven't seen him. I says, John, I was there. Ask your mom if I went by, because I went by her place of employment. She was standing outside, and I went by in a nice little cute little red car and stuff, and honked my horn, and she's all, not knowing who the hell I was, because I'm sure she would have given me the #1 finger first. But she waving at me and everything and stuff. I called it up.
All right, Mr. Lemos. You took her dog, right?
Yes, yes.
I'll hear your story.
Okay, the reason why I did take the dog was like the last 3 to 4 weeks before she finally got out of my house. she wasn't hardly even around at that time. All of her belongings were still there, but there was numerous times that I would go to my house, check on my house. We couldn't live together, of course, so I was staying at my mother's house. There was numerous times that I'd go out there and I would see that the dog had no food or water. And there was a couple of times that I had went out to my house, spent the night out there, and she never was there. I don't know where she was. I had no way of contacting her because I didn't know where she was, going from point A to point B. And so I had felt that the dog was being neglected because when I would go there, he wouldn't have any food or water. And I felt compassion for the dog, and I thought that I could give him a better home which she could provide, because the last 4 weeks, it seemed to me like she could have cared less about the dog, or even trying to get out of my house, for that matter.
Mr. Lemos, I read your answer, sir. You know, judges are supposed to be able to relate to situations with a certain amount of common sense. Let me suggest to you what my common sense made from your answer. Let's pick a month. Let's say in December you decided to separate. She's living in your house with her 2 children. She says, I'm not moving now. You go down to municipal court, housing court, and file papers to have her evicted. She gets an extension of time. Is that what happened?
That's exactly what I did.
Because the judge looks at her 2 children, and says, I'm not going to put her out on the street tomorrow, even though it's his house. These people lived together for 2 years. She needs a little time to relocate. Meanwhile, you're getting more and more annoyed. So a month goes by, and 2 months go by, and you're getting hotter and hotter. And 3 months go by, and finally in month 4, you decide that the family pet is being neglected. So I'm going to take the family pet. Maybe next time, if you don't move, one of your children will be missing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When John first took him, I was crying because he was my pal.
And later today,
I hope that in the future
you have also
you
had
make your
problems,
dream come
so
true and you really become Carlotta.
This was not my dream.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 32-year-old Irene Hipsher is suing her former fiancé, John Lemos, for stealing her pet dog, Buddy, and keeping him for over 2 years. John says he only took Buddy because Irene was neglecting the dog.
Now, maybe your compassion for the dog was mixed with a little animus towards the plaintiff, but you have no right to take her animal. And then for 2.5 years, you lied to her. If you thought there was a legitimate question of animal neglect, you have the right to call authorities and say, this animal is being neglected. You didn't do that. How come?
Well, at that particular time, before that period, she was still around with the dog. Up to the last of 3 to 4 weeks, I didn't see her that much anymore.
So if you didn't see her that much anymore,
I mean, as far as
the few times that you went by the house, sir, and the dog was there, why didn't you call animal control and say, look at this dog. It's all skin and bones. It hasn't been fed. It hasn't been watered. It's being neglected. Then they would have taken the dog. And in all probability, if you were a person who was responsible, you might have gotten her dog. But the dog wasn't skin and bones, right, sir?
No, he wasn't.
No. So the question is, now what do we do with Buddy?
Oh, please.
The dog is her dog.
Yes.
The dog belongs to her. He brought the dog to you? Madam.
Yes.
Why don't you step up here? You're his mother.
Yes.
When he brought the dog to you, what did he say?
just about what he told you, that he felt that the dog wasn't being treated right because there wasn't any food or water. And so he said that he felt that we could take care of the dog better, and he hadn't seen Irene. He didn't know where she was, so...
And you didn't question it?
No, I didn't.
Did you tell her you took the dog?
No.
So you've become attached to the dog, too?
Absolutely.
But the dog is hers.
I agree.
So it has to go back to her. Yes. Period. That's the end of discussion.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You know how she said it was being treated well? Her backyard was way worse than what we have now. They have apples all over the ground, not even grass.
I don't even have an apple tree anymore.
Tell me your name.
Jason.
Jason.
Pimentel.
Do you think this dog knows who you are?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let the dog go.
Come on, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here, yes. Oh, yes. No, that's okay, boy. That's okay, boy. It's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Don't hit him too hard, Jason.
Oh, yeah. That's okay, Bobby's. That's okay, Bobby dog. Yes, it is.
Now, the question is, Mr. Lemos.
Stay.
You did the absolute wrong thing, and I think that you traumatized not only the plaintiff, she's an adult.
Dog.
But these two little kids.
They weren't even there.
That's all right. The dog's going to have to get used to, let the dog go. The dog's going to have to get used to your family all over again. But you traumatized two little children who were really innocents, and you traumatized them because you were annoyed that their mother wasn't moving out of your house fast enough.
Buddy.
True.
Buddy.
So,
The kids weren't there the whole time.
for want of a better word, sir,
Buddy.
you have to be punished.
Buddy, come.
So I'm going to punish you to the tune of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Buddy.
Out the back door to your right.
Mama. Oh, buddy.
Basically, instead, it all boils down to he's a mommy's boy. He has a brand new house. He's been living with mommy for the past 2.5 years.
No, I
Him and I've
haven't.
been broke up. Yes, you
No,
have.
I'm back at my house.
And now the next case.
Parties on Innocente versus Sierra Olivia. Step forward, please.
Actress Celeste Innocenti is suing playwright Jesus Sierra Oliva. She claims after he promised her the lead role in a play he was producing, the role was given to another actress. He says it was up to the director.
This is a case about principle. Plus $100.
Exactly.
What's your first name?
Celeste.
Celeste. And your first name, sir?
Jesus.
You are an actress by profession, or is that your avocation?
Well, I wish I earned more money at it, but it is my profession.
Okay. According to this complaint, Jesus offered you a role in a play that he was producing, correct?
Yes, correct.
A big role. Mm-hmm. And that play was to be performed at a small theater in September. I believe September 13th and 14th.
12th and 13th.
According to you, sometime later, he advised you that you didn't have the part. You had to audition for it again.
No, he never advised me that I didn't have the part.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, you say I'm the boss, applesauce. You can pick anybody else you like. Carlotta is spoken for.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Actress Celeste Innocenti is suing playwright Jesus Sierra Oliva. She claims after he promised her the lead role in a play he was producing, the role was given to another actress. He says it was up to the director.
He said you had to audition for it again. He had some problems with the production.
He didn't say that I had to audition for it again,
What did
Your
he
Honor.
say?
He did say that auditions would be held. He left a message on my machine in late August, and then when I called him back, he said there were so many new parts and so many people had dropped out. He asked about my availability at that time. And then I told him, well, I'd been working on it for 2 months, and you have to understand, he initially called me to audition. He had gotten my name, and he said, well, you know, I heard you were a very good actress, and I would like you to audition. So at that point, having invested all this time and energy, I said yes. And in fact, the venue had been changed to a better theater, a more inconvenient date. But then I did say, yes, I was still interested.
So you did go and audition again?
Well, no, the director, finally he had gotten a new director because the previous director had dropped out. So the director never did answer my calls or return my calls, and finally I did get a hold of him, and he said, well, rehearsals will begin on next Monday. This was September 1st, Labor Day, and then there will be every Monday and Tuesday until the performance. And then that Friday he called me back and said there were going to be auditions Saturday and Sunday, and I said, excuse me, auditions? I had been working on this role for 2 months, and Jesus had hired me to do this role. And he said, well, then come in and meet me. And then the next morning, being Princess Di's funeral day, I get in there. I was already depressed. I get in. I heard somebody reading for the role, and then I asked Jesus about it, and even then he said, oh, no, you are Mama Carlotta. And then he said, you are the best I've seen so far. And you know, at that point, the director still didn't, you know...
Ultimately, he chose somebody else, the director.
The director told me that Jesus had never told him that the role was pre-cast.
Okay. So he hired somebody else.
Exactly, yes.
And they had promised you a $100 stipend for this performance.
Yes.
You, sir, according to your answer, had some problems with the original production. Is that right?
Yes, I had problems that my theater, which I had for the 12th and the 13th of September, I thought I had already made the deal with the director of the Chicano Center. And it resulted that at the end, he said on July, when I called him, Jesus, I'm very sorry. I didn't put you on the list. Your event is not in my calendar. So I felt terrible because I had already promised my actors that they would be performing on the 12th and the 13th.
Now, let me stop you right there, sir. When you say you promised your actors, this is one of the actors that you promised.
I did.
Now, could you... and then you went out and had to hire a new place and a new director.
That's right.
So you hired a new director.
Yes.
You did the hiring. Why
did.
didn't you tell the new director that this lady had the part?
I told him that I already had 6 actors. I had already lost 6 of them. And the director insisted on being himself Maximilian, or else he would not be part of the production. And then it seemed to me like everybody wanted to be Maximilian, all the men wanted to be Maximilian, and all the ladies wanted to be Carlotta.
Just a minute. Am I correct, sir, that you had already promised her the role of Carlotta?
Yes.
Well, so if everybody wanted to be Carlotta, what difference does it make? This is your production. Why didn't you just say to the director, you can cast anybody else that you want for other roles?
Yes.
But I already have promised this lady, and for 2 months she's been working on the role of Carlotta. Is there any reason why you didn't say that?
Because I did not ask Celeste to work on the role for 2 months. I told everybody that their commitment would be for only the 2 first weeks of September.
For the performance?
For the performance
No,
only.
just a second.
And the rehearsals.
But she's an actress, so she was working on the part. Did you give her the script?
Yes, I did.
So she had the script from the time you first promised her the role.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
As far as I'm concerned, sir, you had an obligation when you hired a new director to tell him that at least one of these parts was already promised to this lady. Because you had given your word to her. She, as a result of your promise, went out and performed her job, which was to familiarize herself with the role, to work on it for a couple of months. It was within your control to see to it that she got the part, because the director was also your employee. And you could have said to the director, pick anybody else you like, sir. Carlotta's spoken for. You didn't do that.
I did not, because he said, I am going to choose the actors.
Listen, you say I'm the boss, applesauce. You can pick anybody else you like. Carlotta is spoken for. The commitment was for $100?
Yes, it was.
That's what you're suing for?
Yes.
Vindicated, $100 for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
If you were so well prepared for Carlotta, why did you fail in your second audition?
Well, you know, failure is a question of perception. Let me put it that way.
Step forward, please.
Is suing his co-worker, Tina Nance. Henry says he filed this lawsuit after getting into a heated argument with Tina over her pet cockatoo.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All right. Matter of Phillips versus Nance. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Am I correct, Mr. Phillips, that you and the defendant worked together?
Fortunately, no, Your Honor.
Did you work together?
No.
Well, you work in I couldn't quite figure that out from this complaint. You work in a hospital.
Correct, Your Honor. I was supposed to do 11 to 7.
Shh. You are a nurse.
Right.
In a hospital.
Right.
What kind of a hospital?
Rehab. Rehabilitation.
Psychiatric rehabilitation?
Alzheimer's.
In that hospital?
No, ma'am.
Were you a patient in that hospital?
No, ma'am.
Well, how did you come to be in the hospital with him?
I was not at a hospital. Where he was where I was.
Just a second. This is, hey.
Order. Unit. To get to the foyer, or let's say get to present at the time when I made the compliment.
What did you say about the bird?
How pretty the bird is, how old the bird is, how big he is.
Who had the bird?
There was another employee who had the bird on their shoulder.
Now, this is a large white states I can read. What I'm asking you, sir, is have you concluded what
has ever tried to take my head off?
All right, listen, I'm ready.
Ready?
But not every unpleasant day results in a court suit and should result in slander that was proven. But don't put your hand down.
News in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Blood was spilled the night a bail bondsman caught up with a suspect.
You've been in jail before, you've been arrested before, you've had bond posted before. You know the drill.
Real people. Judge.
As you can see, the lady is an habitual liar.
You know, I have nothing to say to an illiterate, ignorant person like him. I don't have time to play games when I want to play.
40-year-old Chris Warden claimed he rented his guest house to auto detailer Michelle Rivera, but she ran up huge phone bills and caused widespread damage.
Order, all rise. Warden versus Rivera. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Warden, you rented a room in your home to the defendant. It's a room that's attached to your house in the back, according to
the garage, yes.
And you were charging her a nominal rent, a couple $100s a month?
Yes.
Now you're suing her for $5,000.
Yes.
She, in turn, has decided to countersue you for $5,000.
Later, it got up really high, about $1,900.
As well.
Listen, whenever my husband complains, I'm going to get a copy of that phone bill and stick it in front of his face.
I've got plenty.
I have too.
So how much do you owe him for the phone?
I've paid amounts. I have them all written down here. For the phone, I've made a...
Still owe you for the phone?
About $1,500.
Do you have proof of that, sir? She says she owes you about $300.
Okay, well...
Around that area.
Here we go. I can give you all these, Your Honor.
No, don't give them to me. Show them to her. Please. Look at them. Balls?
Yes.
Good. Bert, could I have those, please? All right. What else?
She had me arrested.
For what?
For battery.
Okay, tell me about that, sir.
Well, okay, I confronted her.
That you are pleading guilty to these charges.
Yes, you're right.
You are giving up your rights to have a trial. You have an absolute right under the Constitution of this state. You get.
I have a 3-year-old child, and he threatens me in front of my child. He throws very clear. When he got out of jail in the morning, he called my voicemail and left a message that I...
Even an assault misdemeanor as evidence of the fact that he actually assaulted you on the day in question. Assault to a plea of guilty to Mr. Sanchez.
Well, our engagement, we broke up. And...
Signed a lease?
Yes.
Both your names?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
I was going to school, I was a nanny, and I probably brought in...
$1 that you were living there, which means if you just paid for rent alone, your share would have been $500, right?
Okay.
Okay, and that doesn't...
You may step out the back to the right.
Not only was he blackmailing me for the picture, but he had to serve me with papers in front of a 3rd grade class. Not only was he blackmailing me for the picture, but he had to serve me with papers in front of a 3rd grade class. That's pretty low.
I mean, we could just put it behind us and let's go on and move on with our lives.
28-year-old administrative assistant, Chrissy Davis, is suing her former boyfriend, 36-year-old mover, Kirk Stahl, for credit card bills. Kirk is countersuing for prizes they both won on a game show.
Order, all rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor, this is case number 467 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Stahl. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Ms. Davis, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship which is now over.
That is correct.
And during that time, you either made loans or had expenses that you claim he is at least partially responsible for. You say that it's in excess of about $2,000.
That is correct.
He acknowledges that he owes you some money. About $1,500, according to you. However,
yes.
When was that?
We taped the show last July, and the show aired this past January.
And you won?
Yes, everything. Yes. Won it all.
And Mr. Stahl says that you decided to keep all the merchandise.
That is also correct.
So he said that the amount that he owes you is more than offset by these prizes that you won.
Well, I disagree.
Well, you admit that you were on this game show.
Yes.
What was the name of the game show?
The show was called Shop Till You Drop.
Tell me how that's played.
Well, it's like it's a shopping mall, and you've got a couple of physical stunts, and if you win your physical stunt, you get to go shopping at these stores. And we won both of them and went shopping twice.
But as a couple?
As a couple.
Yes. You won?
We won.
What kind of prizes did you win?
We won a ruby and diamond cocktail ring.
That wouldn't look good on you.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes.
It does look good on me, though. A bedroom set, an air filter, some silver, a coffee tea service, some kitchen utensils, a label maker, wallpaper, an entertainment center, and a trip to Mexico.
What'd you do with the trip to Mexico?
Nothing yet.
But you have it?
I have it.
She has everything.
Right. Now, Ms. Davis, you tell me why you think you're entitled to keep all these prizes.
I do not feel I'm entitled to keep all these prizes. Through my relationship with Kirk, it ended up being so painful for me that I became vengeful, and all of these things showed up at my house. I have everything. And I thought, my feelings are so hurt that I just am going to keep this. Just some stuff to sort of allay my hurt. It's not what I should have done. I look at the stuff and I look at the situation that has been caused with my relationship with him.
Why are you so angry with him?
2 years has told me he loved me, has told me that he wanted, 2 years has told me he loved me, has told me that he wanted to marry me, wanted to make me the mother of his children and any future children that happened after that.
And it was absolutely the truth.
So why are you so angry? It didn't work out. You think he was playing with you?
He was lying to me.
What makes you think he was lying to you?
He told me that he and his wife were separated and that he was going to divorce her. I gave him every opportunity to divorce her.
Oh, you're a married man, Mr. Stahl.
We were separated for 4 years.
He told me they were separated for 10.
We were married for 10, legally, separated for 4. She knew this. She asked me to get a divorce. I could not afford the divorce, so I talked to my alleged wife, and she went ahead and paid for the divorce. So we got divorced. That made her angry that she's the one that actually divorced me. That really upset her. I said, what is the difference? At least we're divorced.
Right.
She wasn't having none of it.
Why were you unhappy about that, Ms.
No. It's that I had gone to the courthouse for him, had gotten the paperwork for him. I had bought a book for him on how to file for divorce on his own. I had filled out the paperwork. I had done everything to help him get this divorce, which he kept telling me he was going to get. He didn't ever tell me that he was talking with his wife and saying that maybe she would pay for it.
But let me understand this. Ms. Davis, you were angry because he was in communication with his now ex-wife, and they agreed between the two of them without telling you that she was going to be the plaintiff in the divorce action after you had filled out all the paperwork.
No.
So then what are you angry about?
I'm angry that he told me for 2 years that he was going to divorce this woman and didn't.
But then he did. He's divorced. I mean, is that what you're angry about?
That's great. But in the meantime, here's a person who was telling me he was going to, pay his debt to me, and never did. He gave me $500 once against my visa for some repairs that I helped him pay for his truck. Okay, because I helped him to get car insurance. I remember being at work and doing customer service in between calls, calling insurance agents for him so he could get insurance on his truck to get his license back, which has since been revoked by the DMV.
All right, don't go into all that stuff. Do you have children with your former wife?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children?
3.
Do you see them?
As often as possible.
He does now. He was not seeing them when we were together, and nor was he paying child support.
Well, that's really not particularly relevant. Listen, quite frankly, Ms. Davis, I don't understand why he's so angry with that. He's got a former wife with whom he has 3 children, and if he could, listen to me, and if he can resolve his marital status with his former wife in such a way that makes her more comfortable, because she's got the kids living with her, I assume.
Yes.
So, I've been in this business a long time. She said, I don't want to be the defendant in the action. I'll be the plaintiff. Is that what happened?
Absolutely.
Aha. Now, do you understand that?
No,
Ms. Davis, listen to me. Listen to me. So that's what he did. He said, listen, as long as I'm divorced, what difference does it make? You're not together anymore, and I have to resolve this case, which is really not a very difficult case to resolve.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
She's a vicious little thing. If she's not on her medication, she busts plates over your head.
And later today.
Goodbye. Good luck. May Obi-Wan Kenobi be with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chrissy Davis broke up with Kirk Stahl. She's suing for bills. He's suing for game show prizes.
She says you owe her about $2,500. You say you owe her about $1,500, right?
I got the proof.
Shh. Listen to me. And you have countersued her for $3,000.
Yes.
For what you allege is half of the prizes.
Right. You can have all of the prizes.
Listen to me. I'm going to make a very simple order. On your direct claim against him, I am awarding you $2,000. And I am directing that all of the prizes on his counterclaim be sold and the proceeds of the sale be divided between the two of you equally. Do you understand?
Yes.
So she's going to have a giant sale. And whatever the proceeds are, I mean, you can be involved with that if you like.
Well, I'm going to say, being as vengeful as she's wanting to be here or is, what's to say she don't want to turn around and sell them for $1 to her family or whatever, because I'm a mover. I'm always out on the street. I'm busy
Listen
constantly.
to me, sir. There is a way of, Ms. Davis, you cannot do that. This has to be
I want him to take them. I want him to come to my house and pick them up and get them.
Just a second. Are you prepared to give him everything?
He can have it. I want the ring. I want the wallpaper. And he can have the rest.
No, because he's...
he can have the ring. Here, have the ring.
Hang on to the ring.
Let me see it.
I just want this to be over. I was wrong to want revenge against this person for breaking my heart. However, he has amassed $2,500 in bills in my name, and it went to collections, and it's affected my credit.
It's very unfortunate, because if things had worked out between the two of you, you wouldn't be here today. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you're angry, and I understand why you're angry. He acknowledges that he owes you money. The problem is, how are we going to resolve the issue of these game prizes? All these prizes.
I just wanted to be on TV. I just wanted to do a game show. It was so much fun. I loved seeing myself on this game show.
That's why we're here today.
And It was wrong of me to hold them for a bailment, to say, you start paying me the money you owe me, and then I'll start releasing the prizes to you. That was wrong. But since I knew I was doing that wrong, I got the 1099 in my name, so at least I was paying the taxes on it and not him.
She took my name off of that, which I don't know if that's illegal or not.
Well, which of the items do you want, sir? Maybe we can resolve it that way.
He can have it all. He can have it all. I just want the $2,500. All I wanted was a judgment that said he owed it.
Just a second. Just a second.
I didn't even... Sorry.
Just a second. How does that sound to you, sir?
I'll take it all.
Good. But you have to give her the $2,500 that you owe her. And you're making out like a bandit according to your answer. According to your answer, the property's... Listen to me. According to your answer, the property is worth $6,000. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're going to get $6,000 worth of property that you can go to sell and at least get $2,500 for it, right?
Correct.
Good. Make arrangements within the next week to turn over everything to him, right? Everything to him, and judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. You okay?
No, Chris.
He doesn't see a lie as a lie.
No, I don't. I see a cheat as a cheat. I wish it would have been different. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
You sure showed me.
And you showed me. She's a vicious little thing. If she's not on her medication, she busts plates over your head. One night, she broke a dinner plate over my head as I was leaving. The other night, she scratched the heck out of me. I guess I should have had you arrested, but no. That was love. She knows I love her.
And now the next case.
Parties on Martin versus Battles. Step forward, please.
24-year-old law clerk Jennifer Martin is suing her ex-boyfriend, electrician Scott Battles, 28, for bills and assault.
Miss Martin, you have a laundry list of things of monies that you allege that Mr. Battle owes you from the time you were living together.
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I also have photocopies of all the canceled checks that I wrote out to him, plus some personal items that were his that I paid for that I never received the money for. He did damage to the house that we were renting. I have photographs of all the damage that he did to the house. The landlady walked through the house after he left, pointed out all of the stuff that he did that were changes that were not authorized by her in writing. And because of that, I lost my security deposit that I paid out to him. That he gave me a false address when he moved. He never gave me a phone number to get a hold of him. He lied to me when he left and said that he was going to give me my security deposit back. And he basically is hiding from me now at this point.
He's not hiding. He's right here.
Well, up until now, he was hiding from me. How much do you owe her?
I don't owe her anything. Not one penny.
Well, tell me why you don't owe her anything. And then I'm going to send you both outside to go over these bills. Because I'm not going to go over 30 bills.
I've got the bills actually broken down, an entire list of exactly what was paid, how much her rent was, and the fact that, I don't owe her a penny. As far as some of the other things she's saying, I did not do any damage to the house. The things that she said that was altered from the house, that's between me and the landlady and not her.
But what about her security deposit?
Her security deposit, I told her I would give her after I got the final bills from the house. She lived there almost a month after I left.
Mm-hmm. That's a lie.
When I got the bills, they were extremely high, and they ate up all of her security deposit.
Like what bills?
I got a phone bill for over $500 for starters.
That's interesting. Okay. You see how thick those files are?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Your files? Take your files, go in the back, sit down, go over the... Did you see the last month's bills?
No, he never showed me any bills.
Take them outside.
Sure thing. Step out, please.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
He's a liar, and he's a scam.
I'm sorry.
He's still married. That's the thing that pisses me off.
It's just her
That's what makes me so mad.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Martin claims former boyfriend Scott Battles assaulted her. He says she was distraught when they broke up and destroyed his property.
Order.
Okay, folks. It's my understanding that there is at least some sort of resolution here with regard to a dollar figure, except for one major issue. Is that right?
Yeah, Your Honor. We came to an agreement on the bills, and we've worked
so
all of
what's
that
left,
out.
Ms. Martin?
The punitive damages that I'm suing him for, $1,500. The reason I think I'm entitled to punitive damages is because for the last 3 months of our relationship, I had to call the police on him several times because he got very physically abusive. He jumped in my car window, he grabbed me by my throat while he was in my car window, told me to roll down my window, and I have electric windows. After he pulled the keys out, then told me, well, if I break the window when I get out, that's your own problem, not mine. He had thrown me up against the living room wall. He had punched me in the middle of my back, and every time I called the police said that it was mutual combat or it was domestic violence and there was nothing they could do about it, and that I would go to jail for assault and battery. That doesn't sound like a good job by the police. So that's what they told me every time I called them.
Because it's not true.
Okay.
It's not true at all.
You know, you develop a sense of personalities, people's personalities. He is the passive-aggressive type. You, however, are not a shrinking violet. You remember this incident in the car with the windshield?
Yes.
You want to tell me your version of those events, sir?
She was upset. She was going to leave. She had my phone. She said, I'm not going to call anybody, take the phone with her. I reached through the window to get the phone, which was on the dash. And when I did, she rolled the window up on me.
You mean on your hand?
No, on the middle of my body.
Oh, you mean you leaned in?
Right.
That could smart.
So the first thing I did was basically turn the ignition off because she was still attempting to roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much after once I struggled a little bit, scraped to get out, and that's all there was. She went in the house, called the cops.
Now, after that incident, did you continue to live together after the police were called?
For a short time.
Yes, for a short time.
Yes. Now, do you remember hitting her in her back?
No.
You remember throwing her against a wall?
No.
How many times were the police called?
A total of 3 times.
And she called them?
For different instances,
Mhm.
yes. Not, she called twice, and my mother called once.
No, they were called 4 times, Scott. And
Your
I
mother,
called
this is-
3 times.
Right. I called the police myself twice.
Step up here. Do you live in the same building?
No.
No.
What caused you to call the police?
Well, she called me early in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and said, you better get out here and you have 1 hour to get Scott's belongings out of this house or they're going to be trashed out in the rain. Which when my husband and I went over there in a half hour, they were being trashed, broken, trashed out in the rain.
What do you mean they were being broken, trashed out in the rain?
She broke everything. She took everything she could and was just like a maniac, just throwing,
I got there
just throwing it
a while
out in
after
the
that.
rain. And the police came, and
living with me.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Living with me.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Okay, let's deal with the issue of punitive damages. Listen to me. When a relationship doesn't work out...
Sorry.
When a relationship doesn't work out, you put a period and it's over.
Right.
And it sounds to me like the two of you probably did some nasties to each other. But you don't live with them anymore?
No, I don't.
You've resolved all your other financial differences?
Yes.
Correct? Goodbye. Good luck. What's the name of that guy from Star Wars?
Luke Skywalker.
What? No, sort of the Obi-Wan Kenobi. May Obi-Wan Kenobi be with you.
Parties are excused, you may. Yeah, step out the back door to your right.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I brought you to court because you stole money from me, Scott, okay? I brought you to court because you're married, you're still married, and you're sleeping with your new little girlfriend that you're living with. He's a liar, and he's a scam.
I'm sorry.
He's still married. That's the thing that...
Why don't you shut the hell up?
That's about it.
And she's also dating and living with somebody else, so you know...
Yeah, like, you know what?
Why don't you shut the hell up?
30-year-old Diana Ramos says she met mortgage broker Mark Taylor in a nightclub and later loaned him money, which he never repaid.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please, all rise. Excuse me. They don't care. Judges number 179 on the calendar in the matter of Ramos versus Taylor.
I care, Bird.
Okay. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
All right, Miss Ramos, for some reason that I don't understand that you're going to tell me, you lent this man some money.
Yes, ma'am.
You say you have a note to prove it.
Yes, I do.
He says he paid you.
No, he hasn't.
And that he can prove it. So first, Miss Ramos, you want to tell me why you lent him money in the first place, how much you lent him, and when he was supposed to pay you back.
I loaned him $700.
When?
This was in May.
Why?
I felt sorry for him.
Why?
Because he told me that he needed money to pay rent.
Well, how long had you known him before you gave him the $700?
I met him earlier that month.
Where?
At a bar.
Did you, other than just meeting him at the bar, did you become friends? Did you date?
Yes, friends.
Just friends?
Mm-hmm.
From the time you met him at the bar until the time you gave him the $700, how many times did you see him?
Quite a few times.
2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times?
Probably about 10 times.
Where did you see him? I'm trying to figure out why you would lend him $700.
Where did I see him?
Yeah.
I would call him, and then we made arrangements to for my mortgage loan.
Is that your business, sir?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
You're a mortgage broker?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been a mortgage broker?
2.5 years.
How many mortgages have you brokered?
I probably, on an estimate, if the market's doing good, about 10 to 15 a month, if I'm lucky.
And you've been lucky?
Yeah.
Yeah? So what'd you need $700 for from her?
Well, what happened, basically, is I met her and a friend at a bar, okay? I was talking to the friend at first, and then I told her, I said, I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'd like to talk to you, but no dice. Well, this continued. We called each other for lunch. We seen each other for lunch, and she's kicking it with me and everything. And
She's what?
She's hanging out with me. You know, we went to lunch together. We were sitting there talking.
Did you say she's kicking it?
Yeah, that's just what she's doing. So, you know, to make a long story short, we got to talking about some personal things, and we made an agreement. She said she didn't have to go back to work. Went to the house. We spent the night with each other, okay? It's not 10 or 15 times. She's at my house every day. She took me to work every day. So what was happening is during this time, I left one company to start another one. They were having some problems with their payroll, so I asked her to do me a favor. She did it, and I said, no problem, I would pay her back. She's saying I never gave her any money. I did give her a form of $200 in cash when they had paid me, okay? During this time...
Prove it.
Oh, well, you know, she knows I gave it to her, and I'm not going to fight that. But during this time, I made an agreement with her. I told her, I said, well, Diana, check this out. I have a compensation agreement. I could lower my fees and what I'm going to charge you for the loan. And if you take that form of payment that way, you know, then I won't owe you anything. She agreed to it. Okay, then the holiday kicked off. 4th of July, she calls me up, 911 on my pager. I call her back. So she's telling me that her daughter, okay, who was leaving to go to San Antonio, had told her boyfriend about us and everything. So the boyfriend's on the phone, and he's raising sand and this, that, and the other. So I asked her, you know,
kicking in.
Basically.
Just a second, let me get this. I like to learn something new every day, sir. Kicking in.
Kicking it.
Kicking
it.
Kicking it.
Kicking it. And raising sand.
Yeah.
Raising sand. In English.
In other words, he's being very hostile.
Order.
Okay? He's being very hostile about this situation that he's been told about me and her being together and sleeping with each other. So I asked her, what do you want me to do? And she said, well, I don't want you to tell him. I said, you know that's going to cost you. Okay, she agreed to it. I said, you know that's going to cost you to keep my mouth shut because I was getting tired of being the number 2 guy.
Let me try to understand this in English. You say that the loan that she made to you of $700 was forgiven by her because you agreed to, just don't shake your head anything, I'm just trying to understand this, because you agreed to keep your mouth shut and not tell her boyfriend that you had slept with her.
Exactly.
Exactly! Mr. Taylor, kicking it, I didn't understand. Raising sand?
Raising sand.
Raising sand, I don't understand. But I want to ask you if you understand the following phrase. Did you ever hear this phrase? Blackmail.
No, it wasn't blackmailing her. Not at all, because she asked me not to tell him. When she called me, I asked her what was this about. She said, Jennifer told John
Gotcha, I understand
what's going
that.
on. Okay, so I wasn't blackmailing anyone.
Somebody told the boyfriend, according to you, I'm not even going to ask you if this is true, but somebody told the boyfriend, she asked you not to confirm that with the boyfriend. Yeah. And you said, I'll do it. I'll tell him it's not true if you forgive this loan.
It wasn't in part of the loan. When I said you're going to pay for that, it had nothing to do with
well,
with
I
the
don't
loan
understand. What is
part
the
of
pay? You're going to pay for this. What did that mean?
In other words, what I meant to her, she was going to pay for it, is that we were going to have a long talk about me having to, bow down and not tell him what really was going on. Because the thing about it was, I felt like I was going to pay for it, because when I seen him...
Were you, just a second, Mr. Taylor, were you hurt and offended, sir?
Yeah, I was.
Were you mortally wounded?
No.
No. You don't look as if you were mortally wounded, sir.
Oh, I wasn't?
It doesn't appear to me as if you were mortally wounded, sir. So let me understand this. You had, according to you, an evening of frolic with the plaintiff.
It was more
Plus,
than an evening.
Let's say 2 evenings. Let's say 5 evenings.
Every night for the last
Every
3
night.
weeks.
You had every night a frolic with the plaintiff.
Yeah.
And she had every night a frolic with you.
There you go.
Good. And you have her $700.
No. Wrong.
Oh, yeah?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He wanted a relationship with me, and I didn't want anything to do with him.
You're right. It takes two to tango. She had to do something.
And later today,
I don't think that it's right for anybody to slash anybody's tires. So if you did that, that was really, really wrong. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Very, very bad.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mortgage broker Mark Taylor claims Diana Ramos is angry that he broke off their secret affair. Diana says she just wants her money back.
Did he give you the $200?
No.
Did he give you any money?
Yes.
How much?
100.
Okay. Could you prove that you gave her more than $100, sir?
No, because at the time...
All right, so let's say you now owe her $600.
That's not what the case was.
Just a second. How much money did you pay her back?
I gave her $100 in cash, and then I gave her on 2 occasions $50. So it's totaling to $200, and she knows it because she took me to cash the checks when I gave it to her.
Assuming that that's true, that you gave her $200, where's the other $5?
I agreed to, as a part of this mortgage loan, because I have a compensation agreement on her, as well as a good faith estimate that was provided, and a mortgage origination statement. And I said, look, I'll deduct the difference of the money of what I owe you off the fees. I didn't hear anything else about it.
Did you agree to it? Did you agree to that?
No.
Did you buy this house?
No.
She's still
You didn't buy the house?
No, I didn't agree to anything.
Well, so what did she get from it, sir?
It's to be determined.
Just a second. She didn't buy the house. She didn't use the mortgage.
She's still pending. It's to be determined. She was purchasing a new home. All I was doing was creating the financing. She knew that she needed to go out and find a home. And I have the compensation agreement that's still good on you to the 3rd of October right here, that this is what was going to be performed up until those calendar days.
Right now, she didn't do anything. She didn't agree to anything. You owe her the money, sir. Did you ever hear the expression? You heard kicking it? Mm-hmm. Sanding, what? Sanding?
Raising sand.
Raising sand, right? Did you ever hear, don't mix business with pleasure?
Of course.
Did you ever hear that? So, don't mix business with pleasure, sir. You borrowed money from somebody as a friend because you were between paychecks. Mm-hmm. And then you wanted to have a sort of work it off on this thing,
No.
on this agreement that you had.
I told her she could take that or I would pay her back. And even on the promissory note, asked her to provide a promissory note to you because I told her that if I didn't agree to pay her by the 17th of July, that we would make arrangements to have it settled. I did not hear from Mrs. Ramos. The next thing,
You acknowledge, sir, that you had to sign a promissory note.
Right, but
that you signed it. Let me see the note.
She has
Here.
it.
Let me see the note, please. You were supposed to pay her, sir, half by the 17th of July. Did you pay her half?
Correct. No.
Good. Then you defaulted.
That's because she had made other arrangements with me prior to that date.
I don't believe you.
Okay. Well,
I don't believe you.
ask
I
her.
don't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you. And I don't believe you. I
Then
think
when I was served the paper, she documented on there that she failed to call me. That is not what the case was. She called my place of employment and personally put this through someone else. I called her place of employment, told them, look, we're having a personal problem over something. I would like for her
it's not a personal problem, sir. She lent you $700. You were supposed to pay for it 2.5 months ago. You didn't pay for it. And then you started to do a tap dance. A, you said, I won't tell your boyfriend, but it's going to cost you.
No, that
B,
wasn't
that's according
the
to
case.
you. You said that 2 seconds ago, sir.
Yeah.
B, we'll work it out in this deal. I'll take less in my commission. I'll take less in my commission than I would ordinarily charge you, and we'll call it even. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Taylor, if a friend lends you $700 in your time of need, you ought to do this mortgage agreement for no commission.
No.
No, listen to me, sir. For nothing. If you were in a bind,
okay.
If you were in a bind, as you were, I'm sure that you wouldn't go and ask this lady for money if you weren't really in a bind. And she helped you.
That's not how that went off.
It would seem to me, that's what you said. You said I was between checks and I needed some help.
She volunteered to do it.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. Get him out of here.
Parties are excused.
Yeah.
Step out.
You got your money back, but you know you was doing me and doing John at the same time. Ask him. Bring him down here. He'll tell you. John, if you get to see this, buddy, like I told you in Texaco, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Have a good one.
And now the next case.
All parties on Taylor versus Lee. Step forward, please.
19-year-old Crystal Taylor is suing her ex-boyfriend Fred Lee because he didn't pay his phone bill. He says Crystal slashed his tires.
This used to be your boyfriend.
Yes, it did.
That's past tense.
Yes, it's past.
Your complaint says you let him put a phone in your name.
Yes.
Big mistake.
I know now.
He didn't pay the bill?
No, he didn't. He didn't pay a couple of bills.
And the total on that phone is now?
$967 and some change.
And you say?
I intended on paying the phone bill, but she came up to my job and slashed 3 of my tires.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided not to pay the bill because the three tires that
You
she
have no proof
slashed, the 3 tires that she slashed came up to $340 a piece,
Sir.
which was over $1,200.
I read that in your answer, that you paid $350 a piece for tires.
Mm-hmm.
Why you didn't get some cheaper ones?
Hey, don't speak to him.
Okay.
Bird, I haven't bought tires in a while, and I know about inflation. Did you ever hear of tires that cost $350 a piece?
Not on any vehicle I've ever driven.
What kind of car is it that you drive, sir?
An Acura Legend Coupe, a very expensive car, and the wheels are very expensive too.
You mean, when did you buy these tires, sir?
May 6th.
Why didn't you pay the phone bill instead of buying the tires?
Exactly.
Shut! Hey!
Okay.
Do I look like I need help? I would suggest you be quiet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If you're winning, you're supposed to be quiet.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
If you owe somebody, you can find yourself a 1965 VW Bug with $50 tires and make sure that your obligations are paid for.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Crystal Taylor is suing her ex-boyfriend Fred Lee because he didn't pay his phone bill. He says Crystal slashed his tires.
Why didn't you pay the phone bill instead of buying $350 tires for your Acura?
The phone bill wasn't due at that time.
Yeah, oh.
When the phone bill came...
No, just a second. The phone bill was over an extended period of time, Mr. Lee. Are you telling me that you paid the phone bill each month and that it was 1 month that it was $967?
No, actually...
No. Let me see the phone bills. How many times did you pay the phone bill, sir?
I paid the phone bill a couple of times, actually.
How many is a couple?
I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times.
Let me see proof
I don't
of
know
it.
exact
Let me
proof.
see you. Let me
I don't
see
have
proof
at all.
All right.
Basically, I went tit for tat. The bill came, she slashed my tires. I felt we were even.
Let me explain something to you, sir.
Okay.
Let's talk about her bill, her April bill.
Okay.
The prior balance that you owed in April was $80.
Yeah.
Then you had a Pacific Bell charge for $355.21. That's in April. In June, sir, the current charges on your phone were $163.
Okay.
But the total due was $967.90, with a prior unpaid balance of $804.58. So it doesn't look to me as if you ever paid this bill. Ever. Now, you never paid the bill.
I was gonna pay the bill.
Listen, did you ever hear the expression, shoulda, woulda, coulda?
Yeah.
I should have done that.
She
coulda
shouldn't have
done
slashed my tires.
Just a second. Just a second. Did you see her slash your tires?
I have a witness.
Did you see her slash your tires?
I was at work.
Good.
Doing my job.
Listen, I don't think that it's right for anybody to slash anybody's tires.
Especially at the amount that I paid.
Absolutely right. Now, because that would be, if you did that, if you did that,
She did.
if you did that, it would be taking the law in your own hands.
Which she
Do you
did.
Hey, so if you did that, that was really, really wrong to slash his $350 a piece tires that he bought instead of paying the phone bill, which is in your name. That would have been a very, very bad thing to do. Do you understand?
Yes, I did.
Very, very bad. But he doesn't have any proof that you did that. He thinks that you did that, but he doesn't have any proof.
Why would I tell you I slashed your tires?
You told me.
I didn't tell you that.
I don't believe
and
that.
We're not in court for the tires. We're not in court for that.
Miss Taylor,
You will be.
if you open your mouth again, you're going to be a very unhappy person.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
It was very bad of you to buy 3 new tires when you had this outstanding bill, sir.
I had to drive my car. I had to get back and forth to work. I had to buy them.
Well, I want to tell you something, sir. I guarantee you, whatever work you do, I make more money than you do, and I don't drive an Acura with $350 a piece tires. So if you owe somebody for a phone bill that's in their name, you can find yourself a 1965 VW Bug, drive it around, right, with $50 tires, and make sure that your obligations are paid for. The judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $967. Thank you very much. That's
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He was no good. I just want to let all the girls in LA know Fred is no good. That's that.
Okay.
That's that.
I'm very good. I'm definitely somebody else's game. So, all you women in LA, I am single.
25-year-old Jennifer Trombley is suing her husband, Russell Trombley, claiming he physically abused her throughout their marriage. Mr. Trombley's countersuit alleges that his wife has a drug problem and has neglected their daughter.
Order, all rise. Judge, it's number 159 on the calendar in the matter of Trombley versus Trombley. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
You two folks are married, in the process of getting a divorce. You've been married for 2 years. You have a 2-year-old child, Mrs. Trombley. I have your complaint. You are seeking $5,000 from your husband for emotional stress.
Yes, I am.
Well, I'd like you to tell me about it. You have a countersuit. I'll hear that in a minute. Go ahead.
Well, I'm really suing because he broke into my best friend's house.
I tell you,
While I was
this
there.
has nothing to do with your best friend's house. There's nothing in here in the complaint about
Well, he
your
broke
best
in there
friend's
and
house.
attacked me.
Well, let
That's
me hear
what
about
brought
it.
this complaint.
Let me hear about it. The attacking you is something else. Let me hear about the attacking you.
Once he entered the house,
Yeah.
He ran through the house and threw me against the wall and kicked me and then left with our daughter screaming in the living room.
What had precipitated this?
I hadn't come home the night before because
Why not?
Because I was afraid of getting hit. And when I did come home in the morning, he raised his hand to me, and if he hadn't seen my friend, he would have hit me.
That's untrue. There was no threat of violence of her coming home at any point ever. She was with her friend partying late into the night.
He says you do drugs, Mrs. Trombley, and that you depleted the bank account of your family, took checks out, forged checks, ran up bills, forced them into bankruptcy, all because you were doing drugs and staying out, and partying with your friends, etc. Any of that true?
Some of it's true.
What's true?
I do have a past history of drug abuse.
We're not talking about past. We're talking about current.
No, I don't.
What makes you think she has a drug problem?
Oh, I have all kinds of ample evidence to prove that she has a drug problem. Just as of July 18th, I got a call from Burbank Police Department who had just arrested a drug dealer, stating that he had my calling card. I have here 12 pages of the calls that this man made with my calling card. Who was given?
Who is this man?
This man's name is nicknamed Morbid.
You know that person?
Yes, I do.
Well, what does he do for a living?
He deals drugs, right, Jen? He deals drugs.
What does he do for a living?
He doesn't really do much for a living.
He deals drugs. And this is Jen's main drug dealer. This is a man that she went to Mexico with.
While you were married?
What? Last month.
Is that right?
Yes.
Terrific.
My wife disappeared for 3 days on the premise that she was going to look for jobs. At 2 p.m., with no hassle, no fighting, we had made love in the morning. At 2 p.m., she said, I'm on my way to go put some applications in. I did not see my wife for 3 days, at which she had taken both sets of our car keys and left me in the care of our daughter. I have a full-time job. I had to take 3 days off from work. On the third day, risking financial ruin and losing my job, I had to take my 2-year-old daughter to work with me. No calls from my wife.
Does that sound familiar to you, Miss Trombley?
Yes, that's all true. And it was all because I was afraid to come home because he was hitting me.
Afraid to come home, so she takes a vacation with a drug dealer to Tijuana, Mexico.
Mr. Trombley,
Order.
let me tell you this, sir. Let me tell you this. I read your answer to her complaint. Her complaint is nonsense. I don't know whether you hit her when you got into the house.
I'll explain to you exactly the events preceding that incident.
Your Honor, we have 2 separate police reports for domestic violence.
We have
and a
one
restraining order
police
that was
report.
put on against him.
Was there
for
ever a
my
trial
protection.
on that restraining order?
Yes, there was.
And what happened to it?
What happened to it?
Today, that case was settled and dropped, plead out.
What do you mean, settle, drop, plead out? What does that mean?
I pleaded no contest to 1 count of battery.
Does that have to do with this incident?
It has to do with the incident where I pushed my wife away from a front door for not taking our personal life into a hallway.
Was that at her friend's house? Just
Yes.
a second.
Yes.
This is the incident at the friend's house.
Yes, let me...
Let me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll ask you to fill in so that there is some semblance here. According to your answer, she had gone over to her friend Lori's house, right? And this was after she had disappeared for a few days.
No, that's...
She had already disappeared. There were periods of time, according to your answer, sir, that she had left you in care to care for your daughter.
Yes.
And you were afraid that when she went to Lori's house and didn't come home right away, that she was going to do it again.
Well, let me explain a little bit earlier in the evening. It was that very morning that I was late for work. My wife came home at 6:30 where I would have had to have left at 10 of 6 to make it to work. She knows this. We've had many, many fights about it. It's when she showed up with Lori, I did go like this in anger, not to hit her, but just as a show. I'm this angry. How could you do this to me again? That very night, when I came home from work, Lori and Jen and Aubrey were there in the house. They said, we're going to take Aubrey out and get some shoes. They left. They came back at, I'm sorry, at 7:30 p.m. while I was watching TV. My daughter comes through the front door crying. But my wife did not come through the door. I opened up the front door, and my wife was at the bottom of the stairs and says to me, I'm going to the car for a minute. 5 minutes later, she didn't come back from the car, and the car was gone. It's at that time that I assumed she probably went back over to Lori's. I drove over there with my daughter, and that's where she was.
Well,
I found
that
was kind of
if you
peculiar.
weren't screaming your head off.
I wasn't
Mr.
screaming at anything.
Mr. Trombley.
Yes. May I continue?
No. Because while I can smell a drug problem from at least 15 feet away, and she has a drug problem.
Yes, that's true.
Based upon my assessment of her demeanor and based upon the things that she has said to me so far, I have some trouble with your response. And let me tell you why, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm just a hardworking guy. I have no record. I've never even been expelled from school. I'm nothing but a decent guy that was raised the right way.
And later today,
you came in with your girlfriend, Christina, who now lives with you.
Well, I'm going to have him live with me?
Who is your lover? Admit it, okay?
Okay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Russell Trombley denies his wife Jennifer's allegations of abuse and claims she's guilty of neglecting their daughter.
You have a 2-year-old daughter. You say you know your wife has a current drug problem.
Yes.
If your wife has a current drug problem, I don't care what you have to do, you make sure that your wife is never left in charge of your child. You didn't do that. What you wanted her to do was to be around to take care of your daughter. Just a second. And I don't care if you have to get a babysitter. I don't care if you have to quit your job. I don't care what you have to do. You do not leave a drug user in charge of a 2-year-old baby, and I don't care if the drug user is your wife. Number one. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Number two. According to your answer, sir, you went over to the house, to this Lori's house, because you didn't want to be in the position again of having to look for somebody to take care of your daughter when you had to go to work the next morning and you had an early morning call. Is that right?
Yes. We've exhausted all of our daycare issues. My wife left our daycare with a $300 bill that we owed them.
Sir.
We had no one else. We have no relatives here.
So let me tell you this. There are many people, unfortunately, in your position whose mate, whether it be a husband or a wife, has a drug addiction problem. You're supposed to try to be supportive of each other if you can, but at that point, there is only one innocent. And that innocent is a child, especially a 2-year-old child that cannot protect herself. So at that point, you can't worry about her anymore. She's got a drug problem and hangs around with Mork or whatever his name is, Dork. Those are the kind of people that you hang around with if you got a drug problem.
That's all she hangs out with.
Drug dealers.
All drug dealers. That's everybody she knows.
Well, then, sir, if you allow your daughter to hang around with her and to hang around with drug dealers, then you are as guilty of neglect as she is. Do you understand me? In my eyes.
With all due respect, Judge, these are events that have only come to my knowledge within the last couple of months. All of these things have been hidden and lied about.
Sir, during that time, during that couple of month period, you still left your daughter in your wife's care.
But I was only doing that on the premise that she was over at her friend's house. I didn't know that there was drugs involved at that night.
You can't have it both ways. We understand each other. You cannot have it both ways.
There was not at any point that I felt my daughter was in danger from my wife.
I'm telling you that it's not true. What I'm telling you is, if you are mated to a drug user who cavorts with other drug users and abusers and dealers, you are a neglectful parent if you leave a 2-year-old child with her.
I was doing everything I could.
All right.
ma'am.
So let me get to your cross complaint because I'm going to take care of this nonsense right away. You say that you spent a lot of your family money?
She spent all of our money.
Good. That's what happens. It's a very good idea for you to get out of this marriage, to take charge of your daughter, and to start building a life with her, if that's what you think that you can do. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's everything I'm seeking and aiming for. But
very good.
These are the events that handle our lives every day, though. While I'm trying to litigate this, I am being forced to move out of California, forced to give up my dreams, forced to give up my career.
That's very sad. You made a mistake. That's what happens when people make a mistake.
I made a grand mistake, and my pleas...
That's what happens when you make a mistake.
I understand that.
Good.
Understand, Judge, that I have pleaded and begged my wife to get drug counseling, to stop fraternizing with these people.
This case is dismissed. The counterclaim is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right.
I want to get as far away from this woman as I can. I believe she's nothing but pure evil and will not help herself. I don't think there's any saving her.
And now the next case.
Parties on Silvas versus Boga. Step forward.
70-year-old Frank Silvas is suing 33-year-old Christina Boger, a woman he says was his lover and bride-to-be. According to Frank, when their plans to move in together fell through, Christina kept his furniture. But Christina says she and Frank were never boyfriend and girlfriend, and the furniture was a gift.
Mr. Silvas, according to your papers, sir, you are a recent widower.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were married to your wife for 45 years?
No, 41.
41 years. Shortly after her death, you met the defendant.
Right, but 18 months after.
And she was selling some sort of electrical
Well, the
bed?
night before I met her, somebody called the house was to make an appointment to sell mattresses. And I told the gentleman, says, I'm not going to buy one. He said, well, we got a new sales person. He didn't tell me it was a male or a female, you know.
Cut to the chase.
Okay.
She came to sell you a new mattress.
Right.
And according to your complaint, sold you a lot more.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I slept with her about three or four different times. In fact, we went to Laughlin. First time we went to Laughlin.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 70-year-old Frank Silvas is suing 33-year-old Christina Boger because he claims she kept his furniture when their romance ended.
Over the course of several months...
Almost a year.
You gave her a lot of money.
Right.
According to your papers, gave her loans of over $30,000.
Right.
But you know that you can't get that here.
Right.
What you're suing for here is a return of your furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes,
tell me how she came to have your furniture in her possession.
Okay, when her roommate moved out, I was supposed to, move in, see? So, I says, well, we'll take my furniture up there to sell my house. Then she kept putting the dates off,
What dates?
That I was supposed to move in. But prior to that, Your Honor, she said she would marry me.
Did you ask her to marry you?
Yes, and she kept putting that off.
Okay. So you asked her to marry you. When did you ask her to marry you?
Before the first of the year, first time.
And what did she say?
She says, I don't know you that good, let's wait a while.
So what happened? The romance is clearly over.
Well, I got evidence right here that really turned me off. She came into my house, took two blank checks and forged them. One for $1,000, one for $350. Then she came back into the house and grabbed those two checks and burned them up. That's what she told me, she burned them. But I got copies from the bank. I got a police report on each of one of them.
When do you say she did this?
I didn't find out about it till May, actually, Your Honor. And I got my bank statements.
How come he gave you this money?
Well,
I assume you're going to tell me he gave you the money.
Yes, he plays a victim well. He was always there to be very helpful to me, and was there to volunteer anytime I needed something. We started up a business together. This money that he's talking about that he lent to me was based on this business we started together, and any money that he gave me was to help me get this business up and going, and he was, in return, got a percentage of this business.
Just a second. Did he get anything in return?
Yes, when he was doing his job.
Just a minute. What did he get in return?
He got a percentage of the business, which was 10%.
How much does that translate to in cash?
About $600-700 in cash.
So he invested thousands and he got $600-700.
Let me explain something though. He stopped doing the business, and ultimately the business fell. It's not even in existence now because he wouldn't give me the information so I can continue to run this business. He kept it.
He gave you a lot of money, madam. I have checks here. A lot of money.
Okay.
A lot.
Your Honor, he's 69 years old. I'm 30. This man's got 45 years on me. He decides to give me money or do what he decides to do. You think he'd have... It's all been his choice. It's all been his choice from the beginning to do these things. Frank did everything...
Did you at any time discuss with him getting married?
No, he discussed it with me.
When for the first time?
He asked me to marry him so many times, I couldn't tell you. It was literally the first time, 60 days after I knew him, was the first time he asked me to marry him.
And what did you say to him?
I said, no, I don't know you well enough. And he was a heavy drinker, and I have a baby, and there's a big age difference. And I told him, I said, no, I think
a big age difference is 40 years. You know, a big age difference is 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. 40 years is a big age difference. Did you ever say to him, no, sir, you're too old and I'm not going to be involved with you romantically?
I never said he was too old. The age difference was a concern, but it was his drinking that was more of a concern to me.
But that didn't stop you from taking money from him.
For the business, we were business partners.
I'm not talking about the business. So far, the business he got a couple $100s from, if I believe you, and he put in thousands according to these checks. And it's not made out to a business. It's made out directly to you, and you cash the checks. It's not made out to a business account. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. But I'm telling you now, don't piddle on my leg and tell me it's raining, madam. I'm too smart for you. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you took money from him because he was prepared to give it to you and you were prepared to take it, that's one thing. He's not suing you for the money. Yet. So don't give me any baloney about business. Business checks, if they're made to a business, they're put in a business name. Your business, I assume, had a name. Right? Mm-hmm. What was the name of the business?
Well, we were Banks and Associates.
So if he was lending money to the business, it would have been business checks, not payable to you.
Okay, when I came to him and discussed certain things with him, he was there to help me. He said, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. I asked him what he wanted in return. He said, just to be close to you, to be your friend. And I said that was fine. He could write me a check, and I could do whatever I wanted with it if he chose to give it to me.
Right, so you used them. Now, let's talk about the furniture.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I want to know if the following things are in your home, madam. Butcher block.
Pardon me?
Show this to her, please. Are those things in your home?
Yes, they are.
Good. Can I have it, please? Court will draft an order that within 3 days of today, all those items will be picked up and returned to Mr. Silvas. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
All of them. And they better be in the same condition that they were when he gave them to you. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Excuse, you may step out.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Was in my
used
driveway.
This guy, okay? He was in love with you, and you used him.
I used him, right?
Okay?
But he'll never tell
and you.
guys.
Your lover move in
You're right.
with
You know what? You're all right.
Whose bed are you sleeping in, Christina?
This has nothing. This
Okay.
doesn't. My God, you
That's
guys
all I
are.
wanna
You guys
say.
are petty.
I slept with her about three or four different times. In fact, we went to Laughlin. First time we went to Laughlin.
Tracy says when her boyfriend, 23-year-old Steve Jackson, caught her at her ex-boyfriend's house, he destroyed her property. Now she's taking him to court to recover the damages.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Sir. Judge, this is number 191 on the calendar in the matter of Tracy versus Jackson. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Tracy, your complaint reads like a short novel, but let me see if I understand it. This used to be your boyfriend?
Yes.
And then you broke up. Is that right?
Yes.
When you broke up with this gentleman, your name is Steve?
Yes, that's right.
You became involved with someone by the name of?
Greg Schwartz.
Greg. Then you moved in with Greg and that didn't work out, correct?
Correct.
Then you got back together with?
Steve.
Steve. And moved some of your furniture into his apartment.
Correct.
Pick it up from there.
I moved my furniture into his house because I needed a place to store it. Steve offered his house to store it with no problem. So I...
Well, just a second. You not only moved your furniture into the house, am I correct that you moved yourself into the house?
No, I did not.
Just your furniture?
Correct.
So you didn't stay at his house at all?
I did stay at his house, but not permanently. I used his house for storage of my furniture. I lived with my grandparents at their home.
Okay. So you weren't dating him at that point when you moved your furniture back into the house?
Yes, I did. Yes, we were.
So you were? You had renewed your relationship with him?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I moved my things into his house because he said it was okay. It was only a temporary situation until I decided to move back out again and take my things. And after spending a few months with him, we both realized that our relationship wasn't working out, and I broke it off with him. He became upset and angry and destroyed my furniture and belongings.
What furniture did he destroy, Tracy?
I have estimates and pictures.
Just tell me.
My couches, my bed, my VCR. I brought my VCR here for you to see. My comforter, my lamps. There's a garage door involved here, but that's later. My dining room table and my patio furniture. And...
Okay. Did you get any of your things back?
Yes, I recovered damaged property as well as what wasn't damaged.
What wasn't damaged?
My desk, and I would have to say that's about it.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Now, I read your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct, sir, that you do not deny destroying this furniture?
That's correct.
Okay, let's start with why you destroyed it.
Okay, the first thing why is because we didn't, she did not call it off. What actually happened was I found out that she was doing something behind my back with the same gentleman that we moved the furniture out of, his house.
So you found out, according to you, that the plaintiff, Miss Tracy, was seeing Mr. Schwartz again.
That's right.
And that made you?
Upset, angry. That happened in June of '97. It was found out on June 20th. Confronted her about it. She lied time and time again, even though I knew that I saw her car at his house. I left a note on her car. I'm sure she didn't bring that with her today.
So you found her car in front of his house. What were you doing in front of his house?
Driving by to work.
You didn't have to go out of your way in order to do
not
that?
At all.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I have to...
Just a second. I'll get back to you. So you left a note on her car?
Right.
Saying that caught you, something like that?
Basically.
All right. But that wasn't enough. Then you got very angry.
No, actually after that, I confronted her about it. After a couple days of lying to me, she finally admitted it. And then we were still talking with each other about it. I can't really say if we were together or not. And about a month after that, I was just upset one night and got sick of seeing the stuff that she gave me at my house. Had the dining room table in my dining area and got upset and just didn't want it anymore. And that's why I destroyed it. I did not want to see it anymore. I didn't want it in my house anymore. I didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore.
Tell me how you destroyed it.
Some of the chairs that were broken were kind of already broken because they were, like, if you step on a chair or if you rest your foot on one of the wooden rests.
I mean, did you pick up the furniture and fling it and hit it? All right, so you destroyed it.
Yeah.
Wasn't just the dining room table and
It was
chairs.
the dining room table and chairs. a couch.
How did you destroy the couch?
Threw it off my balcony. Because it was up in my bedroom, because she gave me some of the furniture.
We'll get to the giving, because that's your defense to this action. You say she gave you all this furniture.
Right.
And therefore it was yours to destroy. Tell me how she gave you the furniture, Mr. Jackson.
In March, the middle of March of this year, '97, we were together. She came over to my house one day, found out that her ex-boyfriend was cheating on her.
This same Mr. Schwartz?
Found out he was cheating on her, got really mad, decided to go to his condo where she had her furniture, and I offered to help move the stuff out along with two of my roommates, who we all have trucks, so we decided to go over there. And one day we moved all the stuff out of the garage, out of the townhouse. And I asked her, where do you want to put this? She said, well, I don't even want this stuff. Why don't you want it? It reminds me of him. And I go, well, if you don't want it, then, you know, what are you going to do with it? She said, do you want to take it? I go, I don't want all this stuff. Had couches, a table, lamp, and some personal items, kitchenware and a mattress, Christmas ornaments. I go, I don't want all this stuff. But the stuff that I can use, fine, I'll take. Dining room table, a couple couches, a lamp, and that's it. Everything else went in my garage.
What about the VCR over there that's got a big dent in it?
That was not for me. I don't know how she can justify me doing that. She had the VCR. She had it in my house, but I did not touch her VCR.
You mean when you were destroying all the other stuff, you didn't just happen, one of the couches or the dining room table and chairs or something didn't plop itself on that VCR?
I didn't walk into the closet and look for a VCR just to destroy. She didn't have her stuff out in my house. She had
I understand that. Somebody destroyed that.
I don't know who.
You were in a rage. Is that a fair statement,
That could be a good statement, yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Steve couldn't handle the fact that I didn't want to be with him anymore. He was drunk. And he was drunk. But, I mean, it's apparent that he has a drinking problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Jackson admits he flew into a rage when he found out his girlfriend, Kathy Tracy, was spending time with her ex-boyfriend. But he says the property he destroyed belonged to him, and Tracy has no grounds for this lawsuit.
Mr. Jackson, I find it difficult. She says that she just stored her stuff at your house while she was looking for another place. I don't think that you develop a sentimental attachment for furniture that reminds you of another boyfriend. That doesn't make sense. Common sense suggests to me that a couch is a couch, and a dining room table and chairs is a dining room table and chairs. And just because an old boyfriend ate off of it or sat on it doesn't mean that you don't want to look at it anymore, sir. Because if she was dating you again, she was still going to look at the furniture, right? If it was in your house. And she was going to be looking at the same furniture that Schwartz sat on and ate off of. So why would she say, I don't want to look at it anymore, and then put it in a place where she have to look at it every single day?
She said she didn't want it anymore.
You mean she didn't want to possess it anymore? But
I'm just telling you what she said. When we moved it into my house, she said, I do not want this stuff.
Your Honor. That sounds like nonsense. Yeah. Do I have any witnesses here?
Yes.
There are a lot of people on either side, but important witnesses. I don't want any nonsense witnesses because it's a busy day.
Can I?
Yeah?
Yes. Good.
Step up here. State your name.
My name's Chris.
Chris, you have a last name.
Chris Delacroce.
Okay.
I helped him move out the furniture out of Schwartz's house.
Yes.
Okay. It was my understanding that she didn't want it because it reminded her
I don't want to know what
of
your
him.
understanding was. Your understanding is relevant to you. It's not particularly relevant to me. I want to know what you saw and heard.
I saw her furniture move into our house.
And what did you hear her say, if anything? Right here. Nothing.
Nothing right to me. No.
Good. Did you hear her say? Did you hear her say anything to anyone else?
No.
Good. Sit. You have any other important witnesses for me to hear, Steve?
No.
Perfect. Do you have any witnesses you wish to me to hear? Important ones.
Yes, I do. I have Steve's former roommate who lived in the house with him before my furniture was moved in there, while it was moved in there, and after it was destroyed and I took what was remaining of it.
Step up here. State your name, please.
Vanessa Williams.
Miss Williams, did you ever have a conversation with Mr. Jackson about the furniture?
Mm-hmm.
Means a yes or a no?
Yes, I did.
When did you have that conversation about the furniture?
The night after it happened.
The night after it was destroyed?
Mm-hmm. And
No. Was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he say to you?
He said that he asked me that he said that he felt bad that he did this, and he asked me if he should reimburse her for this. And I told him whatever he wants to do. I didn't really want to get involved at the time.
Were you his girlfriend at the time?
No.
You just was staying there with him?
Platonic roommate. I rented a room from him.
So he asked you whether he should reimburse her?
Right.
Mr. Jackson, a couple of other questions I have for you. Why don't you sit down, Miss Williams? Thank you. Did you have any of your own stuff in the apartment?
My house?
Yeah, in your house.
Yes, I did.
To destroy your own stuff?
No.
So you had selective rage. Right?
That's correct.
Your selective rage, Mr. Jackson, is going to cost you. Can I have a list of items that
yes, there's
that were
pictures,
destroyed? Thank you.
estimates.
Good.
And Your Honor, I also wanted to state when I filed this complaint, I made it for $5,000, but I didn't exactly total it up. It doesn't quite come up to $5,000, and I put the price difference that I came up with.
Well, what is it?
$3,939.52, I believe.
Is that what all of these things cost you?
Actually, I took estimates only because the places where I bought this furniture either are not in business anymore, so I got the closest estimate to my furniture that I had.
Well, was this almost $4,000 more expensive or less expensive than what you actually paid for the furniture?
That is about the approximate price range of
Not
furniture.
price range. I want to know what you actually paid for the furniture.
To be exact?
Yeah, to be exact.
About
Because I have the bills here.
$3,200, but there's something else included into that that I did not buy. That's the garage door that he broke.
Well, you didn't have a garage.
Where I was staying the night that he destroyed my furniture.
You mean at Schwartz's house?
Correct.
Let Schwartz sue him, unless you paid Schwartz for the garage door.
Well, actually, I'm going to have to pay for it.
No, you won't. You don't have to pay for it because he broke it. Let Schwartz sue him. How much was the garage door?
$620.
Okay, so we're down to $3,200. You just bought this furniture, looks like.
Well, it's on hold.
What do you mean it's on hold?
It's an estimate. They wouldn't.
Miss Tracy.
Yes?
How old was the furniture that was there?
Less than 2 years old, and it was brand new. I kept it in perfect condition. That furniture was, I cherished that. And I took very good care. It was immaculate. It was brand new. There was nothing wrong with anything.
All right, now let me take a look at this furniture, what it looks like. There are two sofas. Did you throw both sofas out?
No.
Where's the other one?
There was nothing wrong with the other sofa. She moved it out later on. There's nothing wrong with it.
Your Honor,
Was
he
there anything wrong with
urinated on it. He slashed it up, but he didn't throw it over his balcony because it was too big.
No, that is absolutely not true.
Let's not talk about slashing it. Did you do anything else to it?
No, that is not true. I did not urinate on her couch.
Well, that's
Did you let anybody else do it?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy Tracy is in court with her ex-boyfriend, Steve Jackson, because she claims he destroyed her property in a jealous rage.
Mr. Jackson, you slash up her mattress?
No.
No?
I did not.
It's all slashed.
I didn't slash her mattress. What I did was destroyed the dining room table, the chairs, the lamp, and the couch.
That is not true.
Well, who destroyed this?
I don't know. She's had the furniture ever since July, the middle of July.
Well,
and then 1 month later, she comes in and...
Miss Tracy?
Yes.
When did you get the mattress back?
I got the mattress back when I moved all the furniture. The night was July 17th, is when he destroyed all of my furniture at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right, okay.
I picked up my furniture that day, that afternoon. He let me come and recover the damaged
Are you
property.
telling me that you took out this damaged mattress?
Yes.
Why did you take out the damaged mattress?
To use it as evidence, because I was obviously going to take him to court over this.
Who helped move out the furniture?
I had 2 movers helping me.
Show this to him, please. Did you... Mr. Jackson, I want you to look at that very carefully, sir.
No, I did not do that. That's not my place. She's had the mattresses ever since the middle of July and not touched that. Now I can turn to the pictures of the couch and the table. Can I look through this?
The couch isn't in there.
I see a picture of a garage door opener.
I'm not interested in the
A
garage door
mattress.
opener. That's
well,
another
I don't
lawsuit.
see how she can justify $3,200.
Just a second. I asked you about the mattress. Did you do that to the mattress?
No, I didn't. I did not touch her mattress.
This keeps getting better.
Who are you?
I'm Danielle Crockett.
How do you know her?
I've been her best friend for about 4 years.
Best friend, did you see the furniture when it came back to her house
No,
after she moved it out? Did you? Who are you?
I'm Nicole Halterman. Not that day. Actually, I had gone to Steve's house that night because I'm friends with his roommate, Vanessa. And I saw the furniture damaged.
Did you
in his
see the
house.
mattress?
Not the mattress, but everything else.
She had already taken the mattress out of the house.
She took the mattress and the couches, but she left the table because it was in too many pieces to take. The patio furniture was in too many pieces to take, and the lamps. I saw those in his backyard. Looked like they had been thrown over the balcony.
Okay, but the mattress she had taken, she didn't take any of the property that was destroyed, is that
well,
right?
the table was in, like, toothpicks.
Just answer my question. Okay. She didn't take any of the property that was destroyed. She left all the badly damaged property there. Is that what you're saying to me?
She took, like, the VCR and the mattresses, all the other stuff that was destroyed.
Just a second. Did you see her take the mattress out?
No, because I was at work when she
So
did
you
that.
don't know whether the mattress was destroyed or not?
Well, Steve had admitted to me that he had destroyed it.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
That night when I was at his house, he said that he felt really bad that he did it.
Did what?
Destroyed the couches, the mattresses, the table.
He said the mattresses?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Well, he mentioned the mattresses, the table, he mentioned everything.
Okay. Good.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Mr. Jackson, when you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. Understand? I assume that that's the comforter. Is that what that's doing here?
Yes. Would you like to see
All
it?
right. I just assumed that that's what it
Your
was.
Honor.
Not part of the new decor in the courtroom. When you have a fit of temper, you have to pay. And your story is a lot of who shot John with regard to her giving you the furniture that she gave you because she didn't want to look at it anymore because it had an emotional attachment to Mr. Schwartz. So it's going to cost you. It's not going to cost you in this lawsuit the garage door, because I don't want to hear about that. If you damaged Mr. Schwartz's garage door, he'll take that up with you at some other time. Ms. Tracy, I am awarding you $3,000 to replace the furniture. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He's an alcoholic. He's mentally and physically abusive. He does not have any ambition in life except to sit on the couch and drink beer and watch the football game. And it wasn't going anywhere. I have ambitions and goals, and we just don't meet. I am glad that I will never have to see him again. Thank you.
With Foster Reader. Now she's suing Foster's son, Dustin, for bills he ran up on her Sears credit card.
Order, all rise. All rise, please. Quiet in the courtroom. Judge, this is number 132 on the calendar in the matter of Trevino versus Reader. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Miss Trevino. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Reader.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Reader Sr. Step up here. Ms. Trevino, according to your complaint, you and Mr. Reader Sr. were living together, correct?
No.
He wasn't living with you?
He stayed with me for a month.
Stayed with you. I paid the rent.
Just a second. He stayed with you for a month. This is his son.
Yes, ma'am.
He also stayed with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And while they were staying with you, you let Junior use your Sears credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Well, we were good friends, and he was just starting a job, and there was stuff that he needed, like tool chests and stuff, and he promised to pay me back when he started working and started getting an income, and I trusted him. He's a nice kid. But now that Senior and I are no longer seeing each other, he doesn't want to pay me.
Why didn't you ask your father for money?
Because I like Sears tools.
Because what?
I like the tools that Sears put out.
So?
She had a Sears charge card.
Go ahead, sir. Maybe you can answer for him.
Actually, what happened, Your Honor, when we got together and we were there a lot longer than any 2 months.
Well, first it was a month. Now you say it was longer than 2 months.
It was a lot longer. The relationship went on for about a year and a half. Mrs. Trevino's credit card was not being able to be used at the time, and I paid it up, brought it current. The Sears credit card, I paid up the Sears credit card where it could be used. I paid up her Visa credit card, which they never let her use it. Okay, at that time, my son could have asked me for the money, but I didn't even know they were going out and buying the tools. She took him to Sears and started on her own while we were still together. And as we were living together for quite some time, over a month, things went on between them. He could have gotten the money from me if he'd have asked me for it.
Well, that's what I want to know. Why didn't you ask your father to borrow the money for your tools rather than asking Miss Trevino?
Because she had a charge card for there.
But he had the money.
I never came up to ask him for that, Your Honor.
All right, so now you used the credit card. How much did you charge on her credit card?
About $1,100, Your Honor, or so.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you pay back?
$1,108.45.
You have proof of that for me?
Your Honor, what I have is my check register.
And what does it say in it?
That I have made payments. I have 9 checks totaling the amount of $508.45.
Is that made directly to Sears?
Sears and Mrs. Trevino.
Let me see it. Do you deny that he gave you these checks, madam? He's got them in his book.
He gave me checks for the rent when he was living there.
Some of this, how much rent?
He was paying $200 a month.
There are charges here for $32.45, $38, $75, $63.
For what?
I don't know. It says to Sandra Trevino. Let me see your Sears bill, please. Was she charging you rent?
I paid her rent on my own will, and I never wrote her a check for rent. I just given her cash.
What do you mean you gave it of your own will, sir?
I was told I didn't have to pay rent, but I paid her anyway.
That's not true.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I was the one paying the rent at the time.
That's not true.
Out of my own money. That's why he didn't have to pay rent.
He said he was giving her cash.
He did give her money, but like I said, it was because he wanted to.
So you say, sir, that you repaid her $508 by check, and this is for the tools that you bought on the Sears card. Is that right?
Yes.
But you also say you paid her cash.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
How are you going to prove that to me?
What? Ma'am, I have no... we were friends at the time. I didn't think I needed a receipt for that.
Well, but you paid most of the money by check. Why would you pay $600 of it in cash?
Well, because I would go cash my check, and I'd just give her the cash instead of the check.
Why did you give her some checks? All of them were under $100. And then what you opted to give her in cash, you gave her in two $300 payments. That doesn't sound logical to me, sir.
Well, at the time, I had the cash on me,
And the only reason why I didn't get a receipt was because I was living with her. She was seeing my father.
Did he ever give you cash?
No, ma'am.
He did not?
No, ma'am.
Okay, return this to him. Yes.
He did give her cash, Your Honor.
No.
And I've given her a lot of cash even since then.
No, I believe...
A couple of times I didn't ask for receipts. Then at the very last, she started writing me receipts. I didn't bring them with me, but she did write me some receipts.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
She stole her car out of a shopping center before Christmas, and I got blamed for the car.
This is getting fascinating.
And later today,
I did see a cat, and I saw them, you know, running after the cat, and I did see a cat.
I'm not sure I believe that you saw a cat.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandra Trevino says 26-year-old tow truck operator Dustin Reeder used her credit card and didn't repay her. Dustin says he paid her back in cash.
Miss Trevino, why are you suing him now?
Because they were going through some bad times, and he didn't have any money. He went to jail for a couple months. The kids were trying to run the business, and they weren't making ends meet. And I was actually helping them keep the business going while he was. And I
What
thought
kind of business?
Towing business.
Automobile towing?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you incarcerated for a period of time, sir?
Yes, I was.
For how long?
I was actually in jail for 45 days.
For what?
Because she had stole her car and I got blamed for it.
You're lying, sack.
That's right. She stole her car out of a shopping center before Christmas, and I got blamed for the car, and I didn't involve her in it. I took the heat because my lawyer advised me to take the heat, so I took it.
Explain. No, this is getting fascinating. This is much.
Hey, it's the truth. You can check it out with the courts.
Well, you can't check it out with the courts. If you pled guilty, sir, and served 45 days, then you pled guilty to something. Explain to me, she stole a car.
That's right.
Out of a parking lot.
That's right.
How did you get involved with it?
Well, when I first met Mrs. Trevino,
He tried selling it to cop.
she didn't have a car. She had problems with her car. I gave her the money to go out and put a down payment on a new car. When we started squabbling, she couldn't make the payments. So then she decided, it was insured, she decided that she would take it and collect the insurance off of it, which she did.
You're a pathological liar.
What do you, just a second.
The car,
Pathological.
you didn't collect insurance?
Mr. Trevino, shh. Go ahead.
The car,
So she reported the car stolen.
that's right.
Ah, it's coming together. She reported the car stolen, and then the plan was for her to go out and sell the car once she got the insurance money for it. Is that right? Am I right?
You're close.
Well, tell me where I'm off. Tell me where I'm off.
Anyway, as it turned out, I got caught with the car
How did you get caught with the car?
because somebody had did some work on it, brought it back,
You mean did some work on it to sort of
changed the VIN numbers.
the VIN numbers?
Changed the VIN numbers. Brought it back. I got caught with it. Okay? And like I said, at that time, I never brought it up. I never one time said anything about it to the law or anything. I just went to jail for it.
Well, you knew that there
And
was you
believe me,
knew the
believe me, I
scenario,
wish I
so you
hadn't.
weren't blameless, sir, right?
I was partly to blame because I got caught with it.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I drive a tow truck.
Your father's tow truck?
Yes.
Did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. These tools that you bought from Sears, what did you need them for?
I like to work on cars.
Sounds to me, with the exception of this young man, these people all deserve each other. Well, I'm going to give you credit, sir, for the following. I believe that you gave her checks towards the Sears bill of $1,100 in the amount of $500, leaving a total of $600 left. Now, I want you to look in my eyes and tell me whether you gave her an additional $600 in cash.
Yes, ma'am, I did. In 2 installments.
Hmm?
I have given her $600 in cash for the tool bill.
For the tools.
Yes, on the
You gave
Sears
her
charge.
extra money for rent
Yes, I was paying her $200 a month for rent.
in addition to the tools. Is that right?
Yes, every month I stayed there, I gave her $200 a month.
Ms. Trevino, I believe him. This young man, I believe. I don't know if I believe either of you two people, but I believe him that he paid you. This lawsuit is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Pathological liars. They're known liars. That's all they do is lie.
And now the next case.
Parties on Brown versus Silberg. Step forward.
32-year-old retail manager Paul Brown is suing his building manager, Greg Silberg, 52, because his dog fell off the roof when a cat frightened it.
Mr. Silberg, are you the owner of this building in question?
No,
or are you
I'm the owner of the management company.
Okay. And this is a 3-story building.
Correct.
You, sir, live in that building?
Yes.
And how long have you lived there?
I lived there approximately about 9 months.
And you have a dog?
Yes.
That dog?
I have 2 dogs.
But that's the dog in question?
Correct.
You were going into your building?
Actually, I was going to walk my dog on the, and I was going to visit a friend on the 3rd floor. And
In the building?
In the building.
And your dog did not have a leash on?
They both had leashes on them. I took them in the elevator, walked up to the 3rd floor. I went to knock on my friend's door on the 3rd floor, which is right around the corner from the sun deck. And I had both dogs in one hand, on my left hand, and they saw a cat. This is late at night, about 10:30 at night. They saw a cat. They got loose. As I was running up the stairs, the dogs already were up on the patio or the sun deck, and that one fell. He was down below, and that was it. I mean...
Just a second. Did you see the cat, sir?
Look
at me.
Yes.
Did you see a cat?
Yes, I did. I saw a cat.
Late at night.
That's how they darted out of my hand.
Late at night, you're ringing a bell.
Knocking on the door, correct.
Knocking at a door, right? Like this.
Correct.
Where was the cat?
The cat was to the left, going up to the sun deck.
I'm not sure I believe that you saw a cat. That's first. I do believe that your dog ran up to the sun deck. Fell off. Right?
Right.
And you're suing him for $5,000.
Correct.
Tell me why.
Well,
because that's the dog. The dog is here.
Right. First of all, I have pictures before and after, what the sun deck looked like before and after, and as well as the medical bills, which ranged into approximately about $1,300, $1,400. And for my dog's a championship dog, and I was actually going to breed him. I have papers on him, and as well as I have the notice from the city of West Hollywood saying that that sun deck was not properly permitted, and if they had the proper railing on that sun deck, my dog would have never fell. And that's why I'm suing him for $5,000.
I'll see all of his pictures.
And this is the medical bill. And I also have a letter from the doctor stating the condition of the dog.
Just a minute. Who found the dog?
Phil found the dog. He was downstairs waiting for me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Can I say something?
Do you feel as if you must, sir?
You've kind of said it all, to be honest.
Then why don't you just be quiet?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Paul Brown is suing building manager Greg Silberg because his dog fell off the roof. Mr. Silberg says the dog should have been on a leash.
Describe the dog when you found him.
Well, I was standing outside, and I heard the loud noise, him hitting the concrete. When I found him, he was unconscious, tongue hanging out of his mouth. He was bleeding from his mouth. I went and grabbed a towel, picked him up. He was stiff. I didn't even know if he was alive anymore. And then I found a pulse. I took him into the apartment, found a pulse, called the veterinary hospital, and we drove him immediately to the hospital. He was unconscious for a couple days.
When you found the dog that night, and I want you to think very carefully, sir, did the dog have a leash?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I found the dog.
A couple of things. I don't understand how this dog got away from you if you were holding both dogs in your hand with the leash.
I had them both on one hand as I was knocking on the door of the third floor. And I did see a cat, and I saw them, running after the cat, and I did see a cat. And he went off, the other dog, because I called them both.
Well, just a second.
Both their names.
So what you're telling me is you had both dogs
in my left hand, correct.
one hand.
Right.
And you couldn't control holding on to the leashes of both dogs.
No, because actually when they saw the cat...
Well, the cat's not his fault.
Okay, but the balcony's his fault.
Just a second.
He broke the law. The law, I mean, that balcony was not properly permitted. If that balcony was properly permitted, that dog would have never fell.
This is not a place that you didn't know about. You knew about this place. Now, I'm not saying he's not in some way responsible for not having it properly gated off. I looked at the gate that he put up there. Your dog can get through that gate.
Yeah, but if
Just a second. If that's a proper gate that he put up afterwards, that little skinny dog can get through that gate and could have gotten through that gate that night. So could a cat.
Not running that fast.
What do you mean not running?
Not running. A dog cannot get through that gate. Those bars are approximately 4 inches apart. Now, if a dog's running at full speed, the dog cannot go through that gate.
You mean he'd have to stop and wiggle through?
He would have to stop.
Just a second.
He would realize that no.
He would realize. The dog would realize.
He would realize that he would not be able to get through that gate going that fast. That's why the dog fell, because he was going so fast he didn't see the drop. That's why the dog fell. Now, if that gate was up there, the dog would have stopped.
This gate, sir, is not designed to keep out dogs and cats. It's designed to protect people. Dog and cat owners are responsible for taking care of their own pets.
Correct.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Just because there is an accident doesn't mean somebody has to pay you. That's not what the courts are about, sir. This is a people protector. And the fact that you suggest that a dog at full run couldn't go through there, that may be. Certainly, a cat can wiggle through here. Certainly, a small dog can get through here. The design
but not
of it...
at full speed.
I don't care whether it's full speed.
If it's chasing, if the dog's chasing a cat...
You're never going to get through to him. Never going to get through to him, sir. Not every injury results in an award of money. You are responsible for keeping control of your dog.
And he's responsible for keeping the railing. I mean,
yes, sir, and I will tell you something else. If somebody chased you up on the roof that evening and you fell off the 3rd floor because there was no adequate railing, you could sue him for a lot more than $5,000 because he is responsible, if you lived, and if you could breed, because that's what you're complaining about. But because there was no bar or gate there, that's not the reason your dog fell. Your dog fell because you dropped the leash. And your dog went...
But I didn't drop the leash, Your Honor. The dogs got away from me. I didn't drop the leash.
Mr. Brown, sir.
Can I say something?
Do you feel as if you must, sir?
You've kind of said it all, to be honest.
Then why don't you just be quiet?
Okay.
This lawsuit is dismissed.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, obviously, I'm delighted, and I just feel that Mr. Brown didn't take responsibility for his own action. First of all, the dog was there illegally. Wasn't
no,
allowed
it was not
on his
illegally.
lease.
You don't even know what your own manager does there. Your manager knew the dogs are there. You're saying illegally now. After 9, I've been there 9 months.
He doesn't want to take responsibility. All he wants to do is everybody's responsible. The dog fell on its head. So
do you feel you're not responsible for not having a proper sun deck up there?
Absolutely.
You're not responsible.
No, sir.
He broke the law. He should pay for it.
Myra Peraza says she and her former best friend, Tina Peraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle, but Tina refuses to share it. Tina claims it was her ticket that won the Jeep, making her the sole winner.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Yeah, this is case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Peraza versus Peraza. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am. Ma'am.
You two gals are real good friends. You went to some sort of an event, which you're going to tell me about. One of the things that happened at that event was that there was a door prize of a brand new Jeep automobile. Right?
Correct. Yes.
She won, you think that you should get half. right?
No. Not exactly.
Well,
I think we both won.
You think you both won, and she claimed the prize.
Yeah, she ended up going behind back and claiming the prize.
All right, let's start from the beginning. What kind of an event was this?
It was just an event from a radio station and Taco Bell. It was just a concert.
Slowly.
It was just a concert. It was just a concert where these rappers are going to be there or something like that.
You, according to your complaint, got the concert tickets and asked her if she wanted to go.
No, she got the concert tickets.
She got the tickets.
Yeah, and she asked me if I wanted to go.
Okay.
And I agreed, and we went, and at the door, they asked us if we wanted to gamble, and we said yes, and they gave us $500 fake dollars each.
Did you have to pay for that?
No. No, they just asked us at the front, if you wanted to gamble, you got $500. If you didn't, well, you didn't gamble.
So it was like Monopoly money.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And after that, she asked me, I mean, I was there with her the whole time, but then she asked me if she could gamble my money, and I said, sure, go ahead, you know, and she's like...
You weren't gambling?
No, I was just standing right there, just helping her out. That was about it. She gambled, she got all my money, she gambled it away, and we ended up getting chips for, just chips, regular chips of what you gamble with, in return when you were gambling. So we had to trade those in for tickets. And after that, some guys just came up to us and told us that, oh, they were leaving, they were in a rush, so they came over and they gave us their tickets. They said, here, girls, good luck, and if you guys win, give us a call.
So now you had these whole bunch of tickets, and you threw them in a pot.
We just, yeah.
Who held on to the stubs?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was, she had it in my backpack, so she put it in the backpack. We had a backpack, it was only one, so she put them in there.
And you had a whole bunch of them. How many did you have?
There was probably 50 or probably more. I wouldn't know. We didn't count them. And we just threw them inside the backpack, and it was time for them to call out the tickets. The time came, so we went down there, and they started calling out tickets. We won other prizes. Prior to that, we won something else, and it was time to call out.
What else did you win?
We won a jacket and a backpack. And
what'd you do with that?
One of us kept the backpack, and the other one kept the jacket.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I guess the time came to win the thing, and we just got the tickets, and she's like, here, you take half, because there was so many of them. We just split them up. She said, you take half, I'll take the other half. And
to look at the numbers as they were calling the numbers.
Yeah, so then after that, they called the number. That was about it. They called.
And you had the ticket. You were holding that ticket.
Yeah, she was holding the ticket.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. I'll ask you this question. There came a time when you did split up these tickets, right? She held half, and you held half. Tell me about that moment.
As I recall, we just split them up.
Not we split them up. They're in your hands.
Okay, I split them up evenly.
Split them up evenly?
Yes, I just gave her half, and, you know, we both looked at them.
Okay. Am I correct that your reason that was done was because it's too difficult to look at all the numbers as they're calling out the numbers, like in a bingo or something, you know, so that each one of you was looking through half.
Correct.
Right? And your ticket won.
Yeah, they were my tickets. They were all my tickets.
Now, why do you think they were all your tickets?
Because she had given me her $500. I did not ask her if I can play with her $500. She gave them to me. She gave the $500 to me.
How did that come about?
She said, here, take my money. You can gamble with it.
Is that what you said?
No.
No, that's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
No, we were gambling. She ended up, she was like down to her last $50, and she just said, can I, oh, let me have your money. And she said, if we would win the Jeep, we would split it up.
I had said that from the guys' tickets. I had the guys' tickets in one hand, and I had my tickets in the other hand. The ones that I had won.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. All the tickets were together in your backpack at one point. Oh, I think that they probably were. All the tickets were together in your backpack.
At one point, I had put them all together, yes.
Right. So at that point, they were all mixed together.
Yes.
Yours and the guys.
Yes.
Right. So there really is no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or the guy's ticket that won.
Exactly.
Well, now at least we got that straight. So it's not in one hand and then the other hand.
But I had told her, out of their tickets that they gave us, actually they gave me the tickets, and I told her out of those tickets, if we win it, we'll split it, because we were friends.
You couldn't tell whether it was their ticket that won.
No, we could not.
You just assumed it was comfortable for you to say it wasn't one of their tickets that won, it was my ticket that won.
I did not say that.
You had no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or one of the guys' tickets that won.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Am I dealing? Hello?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You speak to this pain in the neck, and a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep.
And later today,
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls. And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Myra Barraza is suing her former best friend Tina Barraza after they won a new Jeep in a raffle.
I see that you have a tape there. Can you tell me what that tape is of?
This is just the day of the event. Recorded us where we both claimed the prize. We both did go up there and claim the prize. And
For the
said,
Jeep?
Yes.
I want to see it.
Okay. All right, we're going to this one. Here we go. 607 487. You got it? All right, girl. We're going right home with it. Who won the Jeep?
Well, that certainly looks as if, at least at that moment, there was a mutuality that each of you won that prize. So what happened?
I was willing to split with her.
So?
And that's what we were going to do until about a month later. She had called me up, and she had said that she wanted to give it to me. She said, go ahead and have it, in other words.
Where was it?
I hadn't got it yet.
Did you do that?
No, I called her up. There was all this stuff was going on with the Jeep. We didn't know what we were going to do. It was a big old thing about it. We didn't know how we were going to split it up, who was going to pay for tax and license and everything. And we were going to get the confirmation letter. And I called her up and I told her, yes, you could stay with the Jeep. But she had said if she stood with the Jeep, she was going to give me an $8,000 loan. That's how much the car was worth, $16,000.
I did not state that.
And I told her, okay. She said she was going to tell her dad, sell her other car that she had just bought, sell it back, and instead of paying $15,000, she'll just tell her dad to get an $8,000 loan and pay me for it. And I said, okay. We agreed. I never thought anything. I just said, okay. We didn't. It was just a verbal thing. But I did tell her, okay, you could keep the Jeep and
that sounds reasonable because you can't split up the Jeep.
Yeah, and I just said, okay. And I said, you could pay my $8,000, or else we're just going to sell the Jeep and we're both going to get our half.
She's not. No, she did not say that on the phone. She told me that she wanted me to keep the Jeep. That's what she told me.
What? Of course, that's what she said to you.
Yeah, but she did not specify that she wanted me to give her $8,000.
Well, why would she make you a gift of $8,000? If the Jeep is worth $16,000, why in the world do you think, madam, that she would make you a gift of $8,000, which is half of the Jeep? Why?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, let's go slowly. What word didn't you understand? Why do you think? Why do you think that she would make you a present of $8,000?
She did not say anything about $8,000. I did not hear anything about $8,000 on that telephone call. At that time, I was like happy. I was happy that she given it to me, and I figured that
what are you doing standing up here?
I want to step in for the spot where she called her. She told me through everything that happened. She called me every time they had a conversation. She was asking me, what should I do? What should I do? What do I do about the Jeep? Do I split it in half? Should I sell it? What? I told her, you know what? You won the tickets to that concert. It's your Jeep. You were holding the ticket at the time she won it.
Oh, you're the troublemaker. Sit down. Sit down.
As I was saying, I figured the reason why she said that on the telephone is because she knew that she did not have any part in the ticket winning.
Oh, please, madam. I want to tell you something. I think that your conduct was really outrageous to bring it to this point. First of all, the two of you have been friends. There isn't a question in my mind. What?
9 years. 12 years.
There
Since
isn't a
elementary
question in my mind, after looking at that tape, that at the time that that Jeep was won, the two of you, both of you, I saw her signing papers.
We didn't sign any
Just a
paper.
second.
It was just a back of a flyer. We put down both our names and addresses.
Right. It was the back of a flyer. You both put down your names and addresses as the winners. Right?
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime you speak to this pain in the neck who says to you, I don't think you have to split it with her at all because it was your ticket, it was in your hand. And a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep because there is no logical reason that I can think of except if you're drinking too much to think that this lady would call you up and say, I just want to give it to you because you're a very nice person. I care about you.
No.
Please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
That's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude did it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Myra Peraza and her former best friend, Tina Barraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle. But Myra says Tina is refusing to share.
Listen to me. Bottom line is, the maximum jurisdiction in this court is $5,000.
I know.
You understand that?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Now, she claimed this prize. I assume you went and claimed the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct. She told me to do what's right, and that's what I thought was right.
Yeah, she just went off this one day. I'd spoken to her the weekend before she did this. I'd spoken to her the whole week when she went off to the radio station and had a cashier's check with her parents, and she did this on Friday. I spoke to her Friday and Saturday. She told me nothing. I told her, what's going on? She said, nothing. I haven't spoken to them. I haven't heard of anything.
Miss Peraza, your friendship's over.
I know that.
And based upon what I've heard, that's probably the right thing to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Because she's not a very trustworthy person. Now, she claimed the Jeep. She's going to have to pay the taxes on it. But I'm awarding you $5,000, which is the maximum that I can. My grandmother used to say, if you do the right thing happens. If you do the wrong thing, eventually it's going to catch up with you. What you did was pretty sneaky. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Okay, you got your Jeep. Got her money.
Out the back door to your right, please.
Just to reiterate what Judge Judy said, bad things, it all comes back to people or whatever. It's going to come back to her because I did what I thought was right, and in God I trust that I do what's right, and I think it's going to come back to her what she did because she was wrong, not me. She's lucky for even being there. She's lucky for even being at the event. I don't see that she deserves half. I won the tickets to go to the event, and she was even lucky that I took her.
You got your $5,000
Yeah,
you wanted.
I did.
So
I
now you can
did.
shut up.
Yeah, you too.
You had nothing to do with this.
And now the next case.
Parties on Anderson versus Rankin. Step forward, please.
Margaret Anderson is suing her tenant, Tim Rankin, claiming he made phone calls to 900 numbers totaling more than $1,000.
All right, Mr. Rankin. You rented a room from the plaintiff.
That's correct.
And I believe that you will agree, based upon what doesn't seem to be in dispute, that when you moved in, you wanted a telephone in your room.
That's correct, Your Honor.
But because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
She offered to put the phone.
Because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
I owed a past due bill on the Pacific bill.
So the answer to my question is yes. You couldn't get the phone in your name.
Correct.
I knew we'd get there, Bird.
Take your time, Rich.
So she said, okay.
Yes.
Right? Are you nervous?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
I could tell you were nervous. She said, okay, you put the phone in your room, and within a relatively short period of time, you got a bill.
Yep.
And how much was that bill for?
$1,059.
For a 1 month period?
2 months period.
2 months. And you say I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, Your Honor.
Is the phone in your room?
Yes, it is.
You think she did it?
I doubt it.
Look at this lady. Look, I just want you to look at her. You think she went into your room and made the calls?
I doubt it.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
That's right.
Now, you want to try to explain to me in 100 words or less why it shouldn't be you?
In 100 words or less, I don't know if I can do it in 100 words or less, but I believe that the other tenant that was living there made those phone calls.
So?
And there's a reason behind why I think he made those phone calls.
I'll hear you.
Okay, well, the former tenant and her had a limousine business. She put up $27,000 for a limousine. Somehow I was drawn into the middle of that. Their business relationship didn't work out from the get-go. They were screaming and yelling every night there. And because I didn't take his side in the limousine business, he started to have an attitude against me. Eventually, I had to throw him in jail for assault on me at the lady's house. The following day, her and I went down and put restraining orders on him. At that point, I believe he went in my room. He wanted me out of that house no matter what. No matter what the cost, so he could work on her by himself. I believe that he went into my room and made a bunch of phone calls, information phone calls. I'm not sure what exactly they were. Psychic, maybe. I don't know what kind of phone calls they were.
Psychic hotline calls? Is that what they were?
900. Sex calls.
Sex calls.
Sex calls. Okay.
Okay. So that's your defense. You know, we used to call that, when I was sitting judge in Manhattan, somebody once told me that that's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude
done it.
Did it. Did you ever hear that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Rankin, let's keep this simple, sir. Somebody's got to pay this bill. The phone is in your room. If the phone had been in your room and been in your name, you would have had to have paid the phone bill. And then if you felt that somebody in an unauthorized fashion used your phone, you would go and sue them, right?
That's correct.
But you don't say to the telephone company, listen, Ma Belle, I didn't make the phone calls from my phone. Somebody else did it. You pay the bill, and then you pursue whatever other remedies you have. You are responsible to safeguard the phone in your room. Not her. She was doing you a favor. Why should she be out $1,059? Is there any reason?
No, there's not a reason
Good.
she should be out.
Judgment in the case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,059.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Everybody's not like Tim. There is nice people out there. I went ballistic. Yeah, I was very, very surprised, shocked, mad, angry, really, really upset.
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls. Right. And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
I was used and abused.
41-year-old Gina Stake says she loaned her car to her 19-year-old son, Paul, who got drunk with Jamal, the 19-year-old son of Queenie Martin. Jamal wrecked the car, and Gina says Queenie should pay for the damage.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 229 on the calendar in the matter of Stake versus Martin. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
Oh, no. Come up here, gentlemen. This is your son, Mrs. Stake.
Yes, it is.
And Miss Martin, this is your son.
Yes, it is.
How lovely for you both. Miss Stake, you had a rental car. You let your son drive the car. He was with his friends. My reading of these papers suggests to me that both of these idiots got drunk. He drove the car right into a pole. Right?
Correct.
You think his mom, because he's a minor, should pay for the damage to the car.
Correct.
His mom says that you know your son drinks and you shouldn't have given him the car. That's your position.
That's correct.
So that you are not responsible for the damage.
Right.
Before I ask you two ladies to sit down, I'd like just for you to give me the bills for the car, and then I'm going to deal with the young men.
This is
So the amount that you had to pay was $5,878.43.
That's the balance of it. My insurance paid $4,900.
But this is just the balance.
Correct.
Why don't you two ladies have a seat for a moment? I'll ask you to come back in a moment. Your first name is what, sir?
Paul.
Paul. And yours?
Jamal.
Now, Paul, tell me about how your mother, it came about that you asked your mother to borrow the car for the evening.
Well, it was, we all wanted to go out. He called me up. He said, what's up on the night? And I said, nothing, and got this rental car. And, you know, he wanted to go kick it. So I was like, all right, fine. You know, I told him I didn't have no money. He said, come on now, this is Jamal.
Could you keep your voice up and try to speak slowly?
Oh, okay. He was like, come on now, this is Jamal. So I was like, all right. So he wanted to get drunk. Well, we all wanted to get drunk. So he went and bought the drink. Then after a while, we went to my...
Just a minute. So you went to your mother, and you said to your mother what?
Well, actually, she already gave me the car. She already let me use the car.
That day?
Yeah. But
What did she say when she gave you the car?
She was like, be careful. And I said, okay.
That sounds right. You said, be careful?
Yes.
So right after your mother said, be careful, you and this genius over here decided to use the car and to go and get some booze and drink, right?
Right.
And where did you decide to do that?
At my sister's house.
Your sister's house? How old is your sister?
Well, she is about 19 now.
So you decided to go to your 19-year-old sister's house with Jamal over here and how many other people?
Just one more person, my best friend.
Now, were you drinking before you got to your sister's house? Is not an answer. In court.
No.
No is an answer. So what happened at your sister's house?
Well, I said, let's leave, you know, because he got into an argument with my sister and everybody else in the house. So I said, you know, let's leave. But by that time we decided to leave, we was already toe up. We were already drunk.
What was the word he used first?
Toe up.
Toe up.
Toe up.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, you know, I was too intoxicated to drive, but I still said, let's go. But I wasn't going to leave just right away after I said, let's go. I was going to stay there and wait until I got sobered up. But he was like, no, you too drunk. He tried to take the keys from me. I was struggling with him because I was going to throw them to my best friend across the street. But he already got the keys from me because I was too intoxicated to hold on to the keys. But I still remember that. And after that, he just got into the car. I don't remember how I got into the car. That's the only thing I don't remember. But we got into it.
If you don't remember how you got into the car, you must have been 3 sheets to the wind. Did you ever hear that expression? 3 sheets to the wind?
Nah. No.
Nah.
So...
No. Toe up, you know. Go ahead. So now you're in a car. You don't know how you got there because you were...
Toe up.
Drunk as a skunk. Right?
Yes.
What do you remember next, Paul?
All I remember is you know, I hear the car going, and next thing I know, I hear him and my best friend in the back arguing, telling him to slow down. And I did wake up and say, slow down, and then I went back.
That you remember. You don't know how you got into the car, but you remember saying, slow down.
I do remember that.
Okay. And the next thing you know, you were dancing with a pole.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They're 2 idiots.
I agree with that. And the mother is an idiot as well. Excuse me?
And later today.
Just a second. A bunch of guys went fishing to celebrate his wife being pregnant?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gina Stake is suing Jamal Martin's mother, Queenie, because Jamal wrecked her car. Queenie says she's not responsible, claiming Jamal only drove the car because Gina's son Paul was too drunk to drive.
Jamal,
Yes.
let's hear from you.
Okay. On September 13th, I called him and asked him.
Let's do this. You were in his sister's house drinking.
We were outside drinking.
I stand corrected. You were outside drinking.
Hmm.
What were you drinking?
A bottle of Tanqueray.
Tanqueray. That's vodka?
Gin.
Gin. Thank you.
Water.
All right, so you all get towed up. Tow up?
Toe up.
Tow up. You all get tow up, and you got into the car.
Yes.
And what happened?
While we were outside, I was talking to a friend, and I heard some yelling. When I turned around, Paul and his friend Jacoby were arguing about who was going to drive home. Now, I already knew that Paul had passed out, so I walked over to him and told him to give me the keys. There was an incident months before where he had gotten drunk, and I had drove him home before, and his mother had thanked me for it the next day.
Were you drunk
No.
then?
No, I wasn't.
Yes, but you were drunk that evening.
Yes, I was.
So you
I
got
was-
behind the car, the wheel of the car,
Yes.
drunk,
Yes.
and hit a pole,
Yes.
and totaled the car.
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
How old are you?
18.
You go to school?
Yes.
You work after school?
No, not anymore.
Why?
Well, they had to let me go because I had to rephase a class. And
You had to what?
Rephase a class. That's taking the class over.
Why?
Because it was hard and I didn't understand it, so I had to take it over.
What about you?
No, I'm working right now.
Oh, good. That's good.
Thank you.
Now I'll have the mothers back. Consider yourselves both really lucky. I assume you do. You look like two absolutely lovely women.
Thank you.
Lovely, responsible women who really shouldn't be here today because they're too big to beat, for want of a better word. So you got to beat them financially in order to teach them a lesson, both of them. Because I agree with you that this young man is partially responsible for this bill. So is he. You agree?
I agree.
He had no business getting behind the wheel of a car.
That's true.
So he's got to pay.
I also agree, however, though, that Miss Stake is also at fault.
If she knew that her son had driven before drunk,
right,
and she was hoping it would not recur, is that right?
I agree.
Then she's partially responsible. He's going to pay half of this bill.
And what portion is Miss Stake going to pay?
Oh, that half. That half, because it's going to take him a long time collecting cans or doing whatever he does to come up with $2,800, $2,900,
Okay.
which is what we're talking about. Bottom line is, he was the one who could have killed himself, the passengers in the car. Instead of hitting a pole, he could have hit.
But who made
someone crossing the street with their baby carriage
This was
instead
3
of a
o'clock
pole.
in the morning. This was 3 o'clock in the morning.
So what? Are you trying to make an excuse for him?
No, I'm just saying that no
Don't
baby,
make
no one
any
in a baby
excuse for
carriage.
him.
I am not making an excuse. I
So
have
if
told
it wasn't
him,
a baby carriage, if it was somebody
But I
coming home
understand
from a
what you're
3
saying.
o'clock shift working that was crossing the street that he could have killed because he's an idiot.
Right, I understand that.
All right, good. So let's not make any excuses. I don't like excuses for one's children. When they do something stupid, you're supposed to say, my kid did something stupid.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, Your Honor.
Perfect. Then he's going
But
to
I'm
pay
also
half.
saying that I feel that my son was a minor at the time. Her son was over 18. Yes, I am responsible for my child. Her son, who was working at the time, is responsible for himself.
Right.
Now, she sent me a letter saying that to split the difference. I sent her a letter back saying, because I feel that you are at fault as well as your son and the other gentleman in the car, I feel that the greatest burden should be paid by her, and the 3 boys should split the remaining difference.
I see it differently. I see it big time differently, and I'm going to tell you why. But for the actions of your son, it is possible that that car would not have been driven that night. He didn't have to take the keys to the car and drive it. He could have said, I'm going back in the house and calling my mother and having her come and pick me up because I'm not going to drive this car while I'm drunk. If they want to act like fools and drive the car, that's none of my business. Then you wouldn't be standing here today.
Also,
no, just a second. They're 2 idiots.
I agree with that. And the mother is an idiot as well.
Excuse me?
I'm saying, had she not commended him, her undermining what I'm teaching my child by saying, yes, Jamal, you did a good thing driving my son home when he was drunk, maybe he wouldn't have drove this time. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm saying...
You are making an excuse, madam.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Like I said, this is all fine to me. There's no person in this world like me. I can overcome anything in this world at all, anything.
And later today,
Tom had been consenting to drinking and driving.
Mr. Jackson, you were blotto drunk.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Miss Martin, she said to you in her letter, split the difference with me because I am prepared to accept part of the responsibility for giving my son the car. She didn't say to you, your son was driving, therefore he's got to pay the difference. She said, I'm prepared to split the difference with you. That's assuming, on her part, a certain responsibility for allowing her idiot to drive the car in the first place. Come on, get it together, madam. $2,900. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
The money, that's not nothing. I'm still going to live out my dreams and become the richest person in 5 years. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I said, this is all funny to me. They can get their money all they want to. But once they see me what I become in the future, I mean, they're going to feel bad because they're not a part of it.
Well, there's somebody lying big time.
Yeah, must be, because that's what he said.
And it sure ain't me lying either.
And now the next case.
All parties on Heasley versus Jackson, step forward, please.
Tom Heasley is suing his former friend Clark Jackson for wrecking his truck during a drunken camping trip. Clark says Tom encouraged him to drive while intoxicated and should share the blame for the accident.
Mr. Heasley, you and a few friends, including the defendant, went on a fishing vacation. Now, tell me about this fishing vacation. Who went on the fishing vacation?
Jesse Mobley, who's my witness, I went, and Clark Jackson went. We decided to go up to Rock Creek Lake to do some trout fishing to celebrate Jesse's wife being pregnant. So
Just a second. A bunch of guys went fishing to celebrate his wife being pregnant?
He had the choice of what we were going to do.
What's your name?
Jesse Mobley.
You must have a very understanding wife, Jesse.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky you. So you went trout fishing, got some liquor?
We brought up some beer. Clark purchased a pony keg to bring up for the second
Pony
night.
keg?
Yeah, 5 gallons of alcohol for our last night there.
Mr. Heasley, let's get to the truth of it. Everybody was pretty drunk, and he took your truck.
The night he took my trunk, all of us had a decent amount of alcohol.
Okay. Now, how did you get behind the wheel of this truck? Tell me about it.
Well, Your Honor, we had gone up to the store the night before and gotten some firewood, and we went back to the campsite that night, and we drank a couple more beers, and we started a campfire. I went to sleep, and they burned all the firewood that night, 5 bundles of firewood. The next night, I went to go light another fire, and I realized there wasn't any firewood. And I said, well, I'll go get some. Tom, you want to go with me? And he said, no, I don't want to go. I asked Jesse. Jesse said, no, he doesn't want to go. So I said, okay, fine. I'll go get it myself.
And you had been drinking?
Yes, I had been. It was a bad judgment error, and
Is that what happened?
Not even close.
So tell me your version of what happened.
Clark jumped in the truck without permission before Jesse and I could protest from the back of the campsite, said, "I'm going to the store," jumped in and was gone. And I waited. This was a night where he had drank quite a bit. We all had, but none of us, Jesse and I were not anywhere near as drunk as Clark was. We weren't stumbling around the campsite. We weren't driving.
Okay, so he jumped in the car. And then when was the next time you saw him?
The next time I saw him was when I decided to put on my jacket and walk up to the store because he'd been gone for an hour and a half. I met the highway patrol coming down. It's documented here. They said, "Tom, your truck has been totaled. We're taking Clark down for DUI."
Which they did.
Which they did.
Now, tell me about this truck that you have.
It's an
How old
88
is it?
It's an 88 Ford Bronco. I just purchased it for $4,900.
You have proof of the purchase price of this truck for me?
Yes.
Can I have it, please? Now, Mr. Jackson, while I'm looking at that, sir, why do you feel as if you're not responsible for his truck?
Basically, Your Honor, previously, well, the entire trip up there, Tom had been consenting to drinking and driving. Everywhere we went, we were drinking. On the way up there, Tom was sitting in the back seat of the Bronco handing us the alcohol.
How old are you, sir?
I am 22.
Not true.
There comes a point, sir, that you have to be totally and completely responsible for what you do.
Yes, ma'am, I do understand that. But he did give me consent earlier that day by saying, "You are welcome to drive my truck anytime this weekend. You're a very good driver. I know you can handle it."
Mr. Jackson, you were blotto drunk.
Yes, ma'am, I do understand that.
You mean you think he should have said to you, "You have permission to drive my truck unless you blotto drunk"?
Your Honor, there was never a point in time where that drinking and driving was an issue.
Well, it was an issue when you wrecked his truck.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. 28-year-old Tom Heasley says while on a camping trip with his buddies, Clark Jackson wrecked his truck.
You destroyed his truck. Were you able to salvage any part of it?
None of all the salvage fees went for the tow fee, $1,000 to have it towed out of the canyon.
And you had no insurance?
Just minimal insurance.
What kind of, what's minimal? Look at me, sir.
Okay.
What kind of minimal insurance?
Just theft and collision.
Did your insurance pay anything towards the car, is what I want to know.
Not a dime. I did not receive a dime.
What was your blood alcohol on that day, sir?
Ma'am, it was .14.
So did you plead guilty to DUI?
I am in the process, yes.
Okay. Easy. Don't drink and drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you're 22 years old and old enough to get behind the wheel of a car, that you have to know. Don't blame anybody else. It's nobody else's fault but yours. You get behind the wheel of a car and you're drunk, you're just lucky you didn't kill yourself or, more importantly, somebody else. Yes, judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. I'll back over to you right now.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I thought I had pretty good friends for a minute. I wanted to try and pay for the truck to salvage our friendship, but as you can tell, it wasn't possible. I had a really good friend over here, Jesse Mobley, basically ruined my life.
17-year-old Kelly Atkinson says she started dating Daniel Cope when she was only 15. Now broken up, she's suing him for money he took when they were lovers.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Judges number 278 on the calendar in the matter of Atkinson versus Cope. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
How old are you?
25.
Did you know how old she was when you started to date her?
Yes.
How old was she?
15.
And you were 23?
Yes, ma'am.
That's very dumb.
It's a lesson well learned.
Because in addition to everything else, it's a felony. Right?
Yes.
Now, Miss Atkinson, this is your mother? Mm-hmm. You're 17 now.
Yes, I am.
So this suit was really filed by you on behalf of your daughter. You say that you loaned him money.
Loaned him $2,000.
For what?
Repairs on his pickup truck. Bills that I paid for him.
Like what?
Gas and power. Very, very, very often he would take me to the bank to get $20 out so he could get back and forth to work for a night. I have a copy of all my bank receipts for the time that we were dating.
Where did you meet him?
He is an old friend of mine's boyfriend's brother.
Yeah.
And we were just introduced one day, and we were friends for about 5 months, and then it went from there.
Did your mother know that you were dating him?
Yes, she did.
Did you think it was a good idea?
He wasn't like a normal 23-year-old. He was more like a 19-year-old. Seemed, and they were friends first.
That's not unusual. So he's 23 going on 19. And your daughter was 15 going on 16.
Yeah.
So you didn't think it was so terrible.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were intimate?
Not for a long time, no.
So you took some money from her?
The loan was offered to me. What I did borrow from her, yes. Didn't take.
Well, tell me.
It was offered.
Right. And you took it?
It was offered
It was offered several times, and I did take it. Yes, I borrowed, yes.
Why?
Not $2,000.
How much?
$800.
Well, $800 in one lump sum.
Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about little bits at a time.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All the withdrawals listed on there, there's only, I think, one deposit that I made for my birthday on April 8th. All the rest of the withdrawals were not from me personally using the money, but from him using the money.
You mean using it to go out on a date, maybe?
No, to take it and pay his bills, or to, for instance, I bought him a differential. He needed a differential. I loaned him the $150 as a deposit down on the differential for his...
Does that sound familiar?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I've been self-sufficient since I was 18 years old. I've paid all my bills. No. And no, she did not pay no gas, power, or electric bill. She loaned me, which was offered, $800, which I paid back. Now, I don't know where she comes up with this, no.
How much did you have in this account when you started dating?
To start out with, $2,200.
And prior to dating him, had you taken any money out of that account?
No, that account was saved up. I've been saving that money since I was 6 years old to go and buy a car when I was 16 or to go to college.
So what you're telling me is there were no withdrawals made from that account?
None. Zero.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Step up here, please, with your daughter. When did you find out that she was helping him out with money?
The first time I found out about it was his ex-girlfriend left a message on our answering machine telling Kelly that she would never get her $2,000 back, and a few other things she left on. And that was the first time I realized, uh-oh, she's really done it. She's given him some money. And I was afraid she wasn't going to get it back.
And when Mom confronted me, I did lie to her because I was trying to protect him.
When did you break up with him?
When? At the end of August.
Why?
He put his boot through the window of my parents' truck, kicked me in the face with it.
Why?
Lots of fights. We were in the middle of another fight, and it ended up in a domestic dispute.
Did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
In addition to the $2,000 that you say you took out of your account and gave to him, you're suing for $5,000 and the other for medical bills. For what?
During the time that we were together, I contracted a venereal disease, a virus called HPV. There's a letter from my doctor and bills, my medical bills for the last year.
Did you have sexual relations with anyone other than him during this period of time?
No.
What are you laughing about? Why is that a funny question?
No, just like that, no, no.
Well, if you have some information that she had sexual relations with somebody else, I'll hear you, sir.
She had a sexual relationship with a very close friend of mine.
When?
When? During the time that we were dating. Okay? The money that she loaned me, the $800, okay, yes, I did pay back. This was a doorway to open the account, and once the money had started being removed, the $800 that was loaned to me, then she went ahead and removed more money. Okay, whenever I caught up to this, and I confronted her about this, you know, spending money to go here, go there, I said, Kelly, you can't do that. That's not right.
Show me proof that you paid back the $800.
Show me proof that I borrowed $2,000.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you fool around with jail bait, you sort of accept the consequences of that, sir.
And later today...
You're not a man. You're a little weasel.
Because
your whole family.
Just to put him away for 20 years. So.
You know what? You're all going to jail.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kelly Atkinson is suing her former boyfriend, Daniel Cope, for money he took when they were dating. She also claims Daniel gave her a sexually transmitted disease and wants him to pay for her medical bills.
Now, you answered one question that I posed to you, sir, with a different answer. I asked you how you knew that she was having sexual relations with somebody else at the same time she was having sexual relations with you. And you are telling me about $800.
How do I know?
Yes.
Because I drove over to my buddy's house. That's where she'd spent the night instead of over at my house like she told her mother.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I caught them.
You caught them what?
I caught them in the house. Half dressed.
Does that sound familiar to you?
No, it does not.
Well, would you tell me what he's talking about if you know?
I have no idea.
Well, tell me about it, sir.
What do you want to know about it?
She was supposed to be spending the night with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And?
And?
She wasn't there?
She was not there.
So you went looking for her?
I went looking for her, yes.
Well, I'm making this very easy for you.
Well, thank you.
Good. How much are your medical bills?
So far, out of pocket is $895. And I'm going to need many more.
Well, you know, you're partially responsible, madam. So's your mother. In my judgment. You said it. He was 23, going on 19. Probably more like 15. So, he's no genius. Your daughter is 15, going on 16, and clearly she's no genius. You're supposed to be smart enough to put your foot down and say, I don't want you to see this guy because he's too old for you, and I don't think it's appropriate at your age. At age 15, to be dating somebody who's 23 is not appropriate. Maybe when you're 30 and he's 38, it's a different story. But right now, it's not appropriate. That's your job as a mother.
Okay, now whenever Mom did find out about his age and how much we were hanging out together, I was lying to her, again, to try to protect him.
Your mother still says she knew very well that you were dating him and that she gave her tacit approval because she felt that he was immature enough to be almost a contemporary of yours.
And I trusted
Which is
them.
a kind way of saying it.
Very kind.
Very kind. So you bear part of this responsibility. you know. Have you had yourself tested, sir?
I had myself tested, yes.
Good. Do you have the results of the test?
I have what they mail me is a card that says you're okay, fine, that you don't need to call us, you don't need to contact us, that you don't need to come in.
Let me see.
Okay, this does not say nothing, but it's a mailer, all right?
Well, it doesn't say anything. What are you giving it to me for?
That's the only thing that I do have. Okay, if otherwise I'd have been notified, say, you know, I'd have gotten a phone call saying, come in, we need to discuss this.
What made you go here for blood tests, sir?
Because I started a new relationship and I wanted to get tested. I wanted to make sure that, you know, before I have an intimate relationship with anybody, that I do not have a problem.
Well, this is interesting because this was just done in October.
Yes, ma'am,
You
I
stopped
have a new
seeing-
relationship.
I heard that already. You sound like a broken
Yeah,
record.
well,
But you stopped seeing her in August, right?
A year ago.
A year
ago.
Right.
Right, so this doesn't tell me anything because I don't know whether you were tested a year ago and were treated during the course of that year for anything. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She'd been having sex for long before I come around.
And later today,
You're a lying scumbag. Your whole family's that way. Your dad's constantly bails you out. Your whole family is that way.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kelly Atkinson is suing her former boyfriend, Daniel Cope, claiming he gave her a sexually transmitted disease. Daniel says he knows nothing about it.
Mr. Cope, nobody is blameless in this situation. Unfortunately, you are the legal adult and she is the legal minor. And when you fool around with what we used to call, when I was a child, jailbait, you sort of accept the consequences of that, sir. You took out this money. This was your money supposedly for a car,
For
correct?
a car or college, whichever I decided that was
Whatever.
more important at the time.
And so far you have medical bills in the amount of $895. I'm giving you a judgment in the amount of $2,895. I'm saying the following to you. You started off your life wrong. You're supposed to be smarter.
Mm-hmm.
You're 17 years old. Your mother is supposed to be smarter. Your mother is supposed to be protective. And as far as I'm concerned, this 15-year-old shouldn't have unfettered control over a substantial bank account. It's her money, but she's still a kid.
Right.
Fortunately, what was coming out wasn't money to buy drugs or other things, but it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be very, very careful and very vigilant as a parent these days. I assume your new girlfriend is over the age of 18.
Yes.
Great. That's all.
All right, as I excuse, you may step out. Back there to your right, please.
And I thought maybe they'd be good for each other. Maybe she'd help him grow up a little bit, and he'd help her grow up a little bit.
And now the next case.
Party's on Lewis versus Lewis. Step forward, please.
Secretary Royce Lewis is suing her 19-year-old stepson, Daniel Lewis, for money she loaned him to buy a stereo when he was 16.
Okay, so that we understand who the cast of characters are in this case, this is your stepson.
Yes.
This is your biological son.
Yes.
Are you still married to his father?
Separated.
Married but separated.
Right.
Well, a couple of years ago, while you were probably all living together, correct?
Yes.
According to this, you made a loan to these two boys.
Yes.
To go out and buy some stereo equipment. At that time, he was 16.
Yes.
And it was your agreement that when he turned 18, he would pay you back.
Yes.
Turned 18?
Yeah.
What happened?
He never paid me back. The agreement was that when he turned 18, and I didn't ask for interest or anything, and before I gave them both the money, which was cash, I said, this is with the understanding that when you each turn 18 and get your money from your trust account, that you will pay me back the money that I've loaned you. And they both said yes. I said, then go get stereos for your car.
So you got a stereo for your car.
Yes, I did.
And you got one for your car.
Correct.
When did you separate from his father?
About 2.5, maybe 3 months ago.
And it was after that that you filed this lawsuit?
Right. I told him I was going to the time we were together, and he said I couldn't because he's a pastor of a church and it's his son, and I wasn't allowed to. I said he owes me the money and he's not paying it, and you're not doing anything to get it.
Well, but the marriage was already on.
Right.
Going.
No, actually, no, it wasn't.
Well,
but
then I'm going to tell you something. If you threaten to sue your
Well, no,
husband's son, that's a good time for marriage to start to go south.
Well, I didn't threaten immediately. I said somehow something has to happen here. It's not right that he's getting away with all this.
Okay.
Okay. Our agreement, basically there was no agreement. She came up to, I did not ask for the money. I did not ask for anything from her. Me and James were both outside one day. She came right in front of our door. She walked down the stairs and was asking us if we had car stereos and how they worked and all this stuff. And she says, well, do you guys want to go down and get new CD players? And of course, I'm 16 years old. You know, I would love to have a new CD player for my car. So she gave us a blank check, said she told us how much we could spend. Me and James went down, got the same exact CD player. I came home, installed it in my car. Later that night, sitting in my room, she walked through the door and then told me that when I was 18, I could pay her back
That's a total lie.
because I was getting my settlement, okay?
So what did you say to her at that point?
Actually, I never said anything. I never actually said, okay, yes, I will do this, yes, I won't. But the thing is also, even if I had agreed to that, I moved up to Sacramento shortly before I turned 18. When I turned 18, I never heard nothing. To this very day, she has never verbally asked me for that money.
That is a total lie. His dad has talked to him.
Not since, not
talking about his
since.
dad. He said to you.
My dad left her 2 months ago, and that is when this is happening. And she's suing 4 of my dad's friends.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have fun in jail because that's where you're going.
Miss Lewis, a minor cannot make a contract. When he was 16 years old, he could not have entered into a contract, either oral or written, with you for anything. And there are times when, if you enter into an agreement when you're a minor, and if you ratify it later when you turn 18 or 21, depending upon the jurisdiction, then it can become enforceable. But he did not do that. He did not ratify it when he became 18. You cannot make a contract with a minor who is 16 and expect it to be enforced in a court. This lawsuit is dismissed. That's all.
What is our excuse? You may step out. That's back.
You got my case next, buddy.
Yeah, I've already reported you to Wells Fargo.
I really
Bank for
don't
the
care.
check you forwarded.
I really don't care.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You wouldn't have even had that money if it wasn't for me.
I
said you will
because
pay.
your son can't drive and got in a car accident.
Shut up, you.
Why can't you be a man and pay the money
You
back?
lied to your dad.
Because you can't hold a job.
Yes, you lied to your dad. You said you didn't get the money out of the trust account. I called the bank. You got it.
Yeah,
Then
I
you
did
lied
get it.
and said-
The only thing was
then
I
you
got
lied-
it 3 months after I turned 18 because I couldn't. But what
Because
does that
you were
matter?
too stupid to figure out how
What
to
does
get
that
it on your
matter?
own. I know you can't do contracts with minors. I'm not stupid.
কতক্ষণ ভিডিও দিয়ে আমার সেই ইউটিউবে কাটতে কাটতে ওর করেন
2 মিনিট করে বলে বাসায় করবো সব ভিডিও করে দেবো বাসায়